great talent there that he's coaching, knowing that quite possibly she's going to Geelong, was pick number 1.
Well, yeah, exactly. But, you know, anything can happen. We thought Chloe Malloy would go number 1 last year, but she ended up number 3 or number 2 in Victoria. So, you know, anything can happen in AFLW. And
anything can almost happen to my lads. He knocked over the edge.
Just noticing that Gillespie Jones will be doing the water running today for Melbourne University, just walking in front of us with the high vis on.
I do feel sorry for Gillespie Jones and Georgia Walker as well, who's not playing today, thinking this is a game that's in their backyard. They've grown up all around this area. They probably would have loved to have played in front of their friends today, but for whatever reasons, they've been rested.
Yeah, they're being rested, and I think Scott mentioned this as well in the pre-game. It's sometimes this sort of thing, it's out of their hands almost. They have to go by guidelines set by, you know, AFLW club sort of protocols, and it's just their turn, unfortunately, for Kate Gillespie Jones. She only could play 50% last week and is being rested this week. So and he said that a few more of the AFLW players will be filtering in at a more consistent rate, playing more game time over the next coming weeks.
And they should be using the full complement come the final round of the season, is what Scott told us a little bit earlier. So all 12 players that they can play any given round in a VFLW season. Looks like that's the aim, at least, barring any injuries.
Now, of course, here at Skybus Stadium, which otherwise known as Frankston Oval, we're calling from the old new grandstand, if I can call that, or the new old grandstand. This used to be exactly what the old grandstand used to look like till about 10 years ago when it burnt down in a fire and they rebuilt it. So we're on this wing looking over towards the brand new pavilion side. So kicking, I guess you'd say, towards the lake end or the car park end.
I've gone inland end.
Yeah, to the right. To the bay is to the left-hand side. So just for those, I'd normally call the other end the old canteen end, but of course part of the whole new development, they've knocked down the old canteen and they've moved it to a big new bar area, very similar looking to Coburg.
Yes, incredibly, even the right colours too, on that outer side. But
I love how they mention it. Yeah,
it's the ground is in fairly good mix. There's a few, I'd say, burnt patches of turf along the wing areas, and there's a few darker spots throughout the corridor. But apart from that, it actually looks in reasonable nick considering some of the weather that we've experienced over the last 7 days.
Yeah, for sure. You could probably think the ground maybe have taken a bit more of a hit during the week, but it looks nice, and having stood on the ground for a little bit before the game, it feels nice underfoot, so no mud or anything. But maybe like Eddie had, we'll have a bit of a problem with the centre bounces this round.
Well, we'll see what happens if the umpires, I think because it's women's football, they'll throw it up in the air instead of going for the centre bounce. I still don't know why they do that. Well, they throw it up for women's football instead of bouncing it like they do in the men's.
Yeah.
It's not like, you know, the ball's going to go too high or anything like that. It's, bizarre. But nonetheless, as I look at today's side, a couple of ex-Seaford players in the Southern Saints team, since we were mentioning Gillespie Jones earlier, for the Southern Saints, they've got players in there like Danielle Lawrence, who's played for a number of years at the Tigerettes, Jazz Rowland, who was a very good footballer for the Tigerettes as well. Throwing there Selena Carlson, so a lot of local talent in the side, and it's been a credit to them. Besides Lauren Arnell coming across mid-season, and Georgia Walker, who was a delisted Collingwood AFLW player from 2017, it's essentially been all local homegrown talent for the Southern Saints.
Which is incredibly impressive. I thought coming into the year the Southern Saints were similar to Richmond in that they'd be lucky to win a game because they just didn't have that experience in the side. As the season's progressed, they've been developing, I'd probably say, at an accelerated pace, purely because they're so well balanced. And unlike some of the other sides of the competition where they do have that experience, they're not relying on it, which means every player is accountable. They have some sort of responsibility, so they are engaged with the game the whole time, whereas in some other clubs that have AFLW programs, they probably rely a little bit too much on that talent to get them over the line. Similar to a Carlton, I'd suggest there, where there seems to be a heavy reliance on Darcy Vesio up forward to kick their goals. There doesn't seem to be that with your likes of the Southern Saints. They're almost, if you like, a traditional football side.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point, and they made the effort, and they were very, very, very clear on that they wanted to use local girls and local talents that were, you know, in this area down the southern side of Melbourne. And that is definitely a credit to them to keep it as sort of like a local sort of venture, where I know Melbourne Uni girls coming from all over Melbourne to play for that side. And as you said, it's more traditional, it's better, not better, but you know, you have no one to, like, you can't rest on your laurels a little bit when you're playing in a side like that, which could maybe be a difference here against Melbourne Uni.
For Melbourne Uni today, when I look at their team as well, we should point out there are some changes. Katie Klatt is out due to illness, so she won't be playing. And I was speaking to their team manager, they were devastated because she's been doing so well at full-back. She goes, that is a big out for them, along with Gillespie Jones.
That really puts a rocket through their defence today, Melbourne Uni.
Puts a heat on Danielle Hardiman really to stand up today. Hardiman, by the way, will be wearing the number 16 jumper. Some of the girls wearing a couple of different numbers because they're wearing the white alternative jumper instead of the traditional black with the blue V. Hardiman wearing 16 today. And Clara Fitzpatrick, the Irish woman who was originally Diamond Creek last year, now with Melbourne Uni, she won't be wearing 8. She'll be wearing 51 today. And also put into your side, she wasn't named as an emergency, but she's come in late to replace Katie Klatt. And maybe you can tell us a little bit about her, Lucy. Imogen Milford is coming in. She's wearing the number 32. Yeah,
so Imogen's come down from Queensland, was part of the Gold Coast Suns Academy, and also played for, damn it, I can't remember the name, but the team that has the Carlton logo up there.
Oh, Cooperoo.
Yeah, that's right, Cooperoo. So she played for Cooperoo up in Queensland. So she's still kind of settling into football in Melbourne, but her height is her best asset.
You can see her running right now.
Yeah, see her right across the ground there. Her height is her best asset, good hands, and also a very quick player. I sort of would say expect her to pop up on the wing for Melbourne Uni today.
And to our match analyst in Matthew Cox, any breeze or anything of that to speak of? Because normally there's a gale blowing down here at Frankston.
Yeah, I mentioned before there is a slight breeze going towards the right-hand side of our broadcast position, so going towards the park end, which is the end that Ash Riddle has just won the toss for and will be kicking to. So it's not as strong as what it can be down here. Having said that, it's just blown our equipment once more. It's not as strong as what it can be down here, but what I have noticed in the games that the Southern Saints have played at Frankston Oval is that they play it incredibly well, and when they are kicking with the wind, they generally win going into the last quarter, which, as you'd suggest, that's what's going to happen today if the direction remains the same.
Yeah, the wind will play a huge part in this game, and I think women's footy being a territory game as well will probably wreak a little bit of havoc for whatever team is going against the wind.
Which puts an immense amount of pressure on the Melbourne Uni defence, which, as we've already pointed out, has some key pillars missing this afternoon. So that is, I feel, is almost, even though it's going to be hard with the rule restrictions, having players behind the footy when you're not kicking to the scoring end might be the way to go.
I actually just thought of one thing about the rule restrictions just before we bounce down and get underway here, because obviously they're trialling it at the moment about having 5 back in your forward half. If it proves in the minds of the powers that be that they deem it as a success and they want to run with it, as a majority of rules that have an AFLW, it all filters down through the junior level, etc. The one flaw that I noticed with the rule was what happens, particularly if it comes down to grassroots level, you have the occasions where sides are short on the day. They're only fielding the 18 with no bench, or you have a small bench and once in a blue moon you actually have bad luck, everyone's injured on the bench. If you're short one player on the ground, say you've got 17 instead of your 18, if you're still having to do this rule, you're actually penalised even more, because that means you have one less on the ball, where normally you would, say, sacrifice that player as a forward pocket.
It completely changes the way to approach the game strategically. Even when you do have a full side out on the park, as you say, today, the weather conditions would suggest that you want to not stack your defensive line, but have players there because it's going to be coming in fairly frequently. And the rules don't allow that flexibility, so it does make you think, all right, how do you overcome that?
Quickly before we get underway, tips today, Matthew Cox?
I liked how Melbourne University played, and we heard Scott Gowan say they're going with a bit more freedom. Muggers.
I'm going for the Southern Saints by a goal. Lucy?
Muggers by 3.
To get us underway here on RSN Carnival, here's Lucy Watkin.
Rock goes up, and it's Watts who wins the tap down to Drennan. Hands back to Watts, but Fitzpatrick cuts it off. She can't get a clean ball. Watts gets the hand, still in dispute. Ibrahim, she can't get the hands off. It's still on the ground. but Drennan, she pulls it in. Arnell tries to get it out, but Fitzpatrick from Melbourne Uni ends up with the ball, and she's wrapped up by Arnell, and we'll have a ball up in the centre.
And high in the air it goes. One out by Watt. Ball hit the ground. Trying to rush through the contest there was Maitland. Couldn't get it out. Ball still on the deck. In goes Apatangelo. She can't squeeze out the ball. Circling the pack is Amy Silver as well. Now trying to bust her way through is the captain in Ash Riddle for the Muggers. A hand pass intercepted by Courtney Jones. 23rd player today for St Kilda. Now ball going back through to Johnson. Gave it off one step by Watt. Kicks it up the line. Mark taken. Held on by Drennan. Drennan on the centre wing. Furthest from our commentary position. Goes long up the line, was trying to find Courtney Munn, knocked away from her hands, and the ball will go over the boundary line and out of bounds. 1 minute in, no score either side. Early impressions, Matthew Cox.
Notice Melbourne Uni playing with a fairly open forward line at the moment. At that first contest, everyone was around the footy, and they only had 2 players inside attacking 50.
Fitzpatrick wins the tap down. No one can grab the clearance. It's in dispute on the ground, and the Melbourne Uni player is wrapped up, and the umpire is circling. Will come in for a ball up exactly in this position where it was thrown in at half forward for the Saints. The tap down by Watts was picked up by Arnell, but she was wrapped up by Tupper, brought to the ground, and I think, it's been pulled out by Watts. The umpire let it go, and she wrenched the ball out of the Melbourne Uni player's hands and got the kick off, but it was intercepted. Press Parkers got the hands to Tupper, but she couldn't take it. She ran over it. The ball rolled over the boundary line, and we'll have another throw-in on the centre wing just in the half forward for St Kilda.
And we'll wait for the ball to be thrown back into play. Once again, Fitzpatrick versus Watt in this contest. St Kilda attacking to the left of your screen for those watching on VFL.com.au. Ball spit out the back, getting to it and getting over the top was Riddell. Did well. Prespakis now with the football on the right. Goes inside 50 with a kick. Lovely weighted kick. It was a one-on-one, and I was going to say the Sharks, but the Saints managed to get the ball away. I'm used to seeing the old St Kilda Sharks. DeAngela's just kicking the ball along the carpet, finds the safety of the boundary line, and the umpire's called deliberate. Said that's all you look for was Jazz Rowland, pardon me. She was just kicking it in front of herself. The umpire said you made no opportunity, no attempt to keep the ball in play. So the free kick ends up with the number 9 here, and that is Kira Price. 2 Prices playing today, Asher and Kira. Kira decides to go backwards with the kick. Works out okay. Dahlia Edward takes the footy. Edward is about 60 metres out from home. Looking further afield, what options does she have on in a crowded forward line? Lead being made now out towards the pocket. It's a well-weighted kick. Just went over the head, though, of the player that was trying to make the lead in Runnels. And the Saints will try and clear through. Maitland goes with a dangerous switch. It's been picked off. Snap off the side of the boot. I think it's gone through. It has. Greaser gets her first. And the Muggers jump out to an early lead. 1 straight 6. The Saints yet to score. Matthew Cox.
That was an incredible goal there from Caitlin Greaser from about 40, well, not even that. It was about 30 metres out, but just stuck the boot out, put it on it, or let it bounce onto the boot rather, and it just rolled through for our first goal here at Frankston Oval. It was a bit congested, the forward line for Melbourne University, so they were actually lucky to get a bit of space there for Greaser to run on and kick the goal.
You think Maitland would be rethinking that kick across goals then in her defensive 50, but from the restart, Watts got it down to Drennan, but it was cut off by Tuppers, who got the clearance out to the broadcast wing. Riddell was in pursuit, and she picked it up, got the kick off, heading towards Runnell on the Melbourne Uni half forward. She couldn't take the mark, but it's Price. She can't get clean hands to the ball, and she's rushed it over the boundary line, and we'll have a boundary throw in right where the 50 line and the boundary just intersect. So that's Muggers 1 straight 6 leading the Southern Saints. No score yet in this first quarter with 4 minutes and a half gone. Fitzpatrick got the tap down, and Ibrahim tapped it to the advantage of Parkers, who got it to Keeney, who kicked it inside 50. Runnels got the spoil for the Southern Saints, who got it back. She's handballed it out to Johnson on the wing. She couldn't get clean hands, and her handball to Olsen was over the boundary line. So we'll have a boundary line again where the 50 and the paint intersect.
And we'll wait for it to be heaved back into play.
Just noticing that the Southern Saints seem to be a little panicked when they've got the ball in their hands at the moment. Very indecisive.
Tups for Melbourne Uni got the clearance into the hands of Runnels. She got the handball off to Riddell, who was quickly wrapped up by the Southern Saints player and brought to ground. She wasn't going to go anywhere with that, so the umpire says we'll throw it in just inside 50, about 45 metres out from the Melbourne Uni goal.
Having all kinds of technical issues today.
And Watts, she got the tap down for the Southern Saints. Johnson couldn't get the handball to a player of hers, got it to Press-Parkers, who got it to Greaser, who slammed it on the boot. The spoil went the way of Price for Melbourne Uni. She was thrown to the ground by Runnels from the Southern Saints. Big pack forms over the ball in like a rugby scrum. It ends up out the back and over the boundary line.
Geez, we're having all kinds of fun today. We've had cables break, my headphones have gone. Don't you love coming down to Frankston as we wait for the ball to be thrown back into play? Deep inside the Muggers forward 50. Coming across there is Drennan, trying to get a hurried hand pass out. Couldn't. Quick little kick, only gained about 10 metres. Trying to bust her way through there was Maitland. The cheese no good. Ball now came out the side to Roland. Roland now with a chain of hand passes. Now the Saints want to come down the corridor. Long way to kick. Trying to find Courtney Jones. Takes a mark. Jones, as we mentioned, the 23rd player here for the Saints. Sells the candy very well. Gets the hand pass off to Lauren Arnell, the experienced campaigner. Works it out wide towards the half-forward flank. Got players on here because Jones was pushing up to offer a second option. Good ball from behind by McDonald. Holds the football up, and they're going to call for a bounce surely as Elise Hay comes in. And that's what we'll have. 60 metres out from goal for the Saints. They trail at the moment, though, by 1 goal.
Be Fitzpatrick and Watts again all over the ground for these ruck contests, and it was Fitzpatrick who won the tap down, but the ball hit the ground and then bounced out for a boundary throw-in. Still 60 metres out from the Southern Saints goal on the far wing, waiting for the ball to be thrown in. Watts and Fitzpatrick, they meet again. It's not a clear tap out, but it's a big clearance. Abatangelo couldn't get the ball. The ball ends up in the hands of Arnell out the back, who gets the hurried kick away. Melbourne Uni with the spoil, but it's picked up by the Southern Saints player, who's quickly dumped. It was DeAngelis for the Southern Saints who got the inside 50, but it was cut off by Hay for Melbourne Uni. And Jones, the 23rd player, ended up with the ball, but she was quickly wrapped up. It's hot footy down in the forward line at the moment.
Chaos, panicked football is the two ways of describing it for me. Everyone's rushing around the football at the moment. No one's really making any clean decisions, apart from the couple of times in the hands of Lauren Arnell.
Chaos, I thought, what you were describing what was happening here in the commentary box.
Well,
as they decide to go for the switch, works out okay. Mark for the Muggers in the back pocket, Bay end of the ground. Now they go with a short right kick up the line. Oh, cutting it off there and bringing it to ground was Bohannon, but it was taken away from her. Muggers go towards the half-back flank. They were trying to find Abatangelo. Got out the back door. Caught, though, with a pill is Millie Schoen, and the umpire says that's red hot, holding the football. And a free kick going the way of the Saints. Opportunity to bomb it inside 50 now. Long, high, floating kick. Getting back there is the Irishwoman and Cara Fitzpatrick. She takes the mark, relieves the pressure for the Muggers. Maybe. She hand-passed into trouble, though. Don't think that's the smartest option, but they managed to get a kick in towards the centre of the ground. Getting a fist in there was Carlson, who brought it to ground. She'll try and receive it now. Bobbled around, got it to a teammate in Johnson. Now gave it back. Long kick was ill-directed, allowing Fitzpatrick to take it, and now kicks out towards the very skinny wing here on the grandstand side. It'll take a couple of bounces and go out right in front of our commentary position. We've played just on 9 minutes. The Saints no score. Melbourne Uni 1 straight 6.
Slow it down. Both sides need to slow it down. They are just rushing everything at the moment.
Ball back into play. It's Fitzpatrick who gets the tap behind, but it's picked off by Carlson for the Saints. She gets the kick towards 50 for the Saints, but it's cut off by Aarons. The ball taken by Hardeman out to Cantwell for Melbourne Uni. She gets the hands to Press-Parkers, who does a complete U-turn and gets the ball back to Riddell, but she can't mark on the broadcast wing. It's cut off by Johnson for the Saints, but she's wrapped up in a tackle by the late inclusion, Imogen Milford, and we'll have a ball up right by the interchange gates here on the broadcast wing.
High in the air it goes. Staying down was Fitzpatrick, who just brought the ball to her feet when Watt was jumping all over her, and the ball will go over the boundary line and out of bounds once again. You're on RSN Carnival Digital Radio and via the video stream on VFL.com.au for our Swiss Wellness VFL Women's Match of the Day. Muggers leading the Saints by a goal as it's back into play. Watt does some good body work. Wins out in the ruck contest versus Kira Price. Hurry kick around the corner. Cut off by Edward. Edward had to go back to Press Parkers. Press Parkers now by hand. Did okay. Spotted up Cantwell. Cantwell hugging close towards the boundary line. Was trying to find Millie Shon. And the ball's gone over the boundary line and out of bounds. We'll have another throw in. Match analyst today, Matthew Cox.
I know the weather conditions are a bit blustery, but the skills so far have been very ordinary, and I don't know whether there's much pressure out there. It just seems like everyone's just trying to get it forward. Slow it down, maintain possession, think about how you're going to dispose of it.
Kira Price couldn't win the tap over Watts and she got it out, but it's ended up in the hands of Early Runnels for Melbourne Uni. She got the clearance away, gets in the hands of Riddell, but her hand pass picked off by Johnson. She was stripped of it, but it's ended up in the hands of Allsop for the Saints. She gets a long clearing kick away. Bahana can't take the mark for the Saints. It ends up in the hands of Edwards. She was wrapped up and the ball ended up with Watts for the Saints. Her handball ineffective to the player, and it's in dispute on the ground with Ricardo of the Saints just lying on top of the pack to tell them they aren't going to get that ball anywhere. So we'll have a boundary throw in the centre. Tap down, won by Bahana, but it goes to Shon for Melbourne Uni. She couldn't get clean hands. Press Packers barrels through the pack. She gets the ball, but immediately wrapped up by Bahana, and we'll have a secondary stoppage just on the broadcast wing.
So umpire will clear the way, and high in the air it goes. One out on this occasion by Bahana. Trying to get a hurry kick out of there was Drennan. Was spoiled immediately off the tackle laid on by Green. And the umpire still allowing play to go on, not wanting to blow the whistle. In goes Bahana again, and this time he'll call for a stoppage. Between centre and centre half forward for the Saints. They're yet to put a score on the board. The Muggers just with the solitary goal. Press Parkers wanted to burrow her way through. Got knocked over in the end. Ball hit the deck. Trying to get in there was Johnson. Hurry kick out by the Muggers towards the wing position. Just went over the head there of Ash Riddell. Saints do have some numbers if they can work it out. Oh, dead caught with it is Olsen. The umpire said it was fair play on. In goes Runnels. Wanted to get a hand pass over the top. Her teammate and Angeles came through. They managed to get a kick inside 50. Oh, it's a great grab. Sophie Abertan-Jallo, formerly of Diamond Creek, now with the Muggers, gives it off to Press Parkers. Press Parkers from 48 metres out, goes for home! The predicted number 1 draft pick, Madison Press Parkers, has gone, this is how you do it, and has put the Muggers 2 goals up there, 2 straight 12. The Saints yet to score here on RSN Carnival Digital Radio and VFL.com.au. Match analyst Matthew Cox.
Nice to see the kick there from Press Parkers, long and direct. What this game needs at the moment, as I've said a couple of times, it's very congested, a lot of players around the footy, and they're not really thinking about how they're disposing. A great goal. Tight angle with the wind, catering for the wind there. That was a great goal by Maddie Press-Parkers.
Was a great finish by Press-Parkers, and Price, she got the tap down, but only as far as Maitland, who got the kick away to her half-forward line. Olsen, she got the hands after running down was Johnson for Southern Saints. She got it inside 50. Hardiman for Melbourne Uni couldn't stop the ball, and it's put over the line by Hay, who was in a little bit of a tussle with Gabriella DeAngelis for the Southern Saints. So we'll have a throw-in the Southern Saints inside 50.
This is dangerous. Lauren Arnell vacant at centre half forward for the Southern Saints.
And they bring the ball to ground, but trying to come away with it is Millie Shon. Got knocked off of it. Drennan tried to get a low hurry kick away. Couldn't find a teammate in Owen right up against the boundary line, and Shawla scored it over.
Doesn't seem to be a hell of a lot of confidence out there at the moment. Players are just unsure about where to go, what to do, who to deliver it to. They're just searching for the boundary line every time they get the ball in their hands.
Kira Price won the tap. Drennan was caught immediately and put into the ground, and the umpire will call for a ball. And that's the one thing we've talked about most of the season, particularly for, and this game features a lot of players who have come up to VFLW level this year, that they're trying to enact a game plan, but they're not hitting it with confidence.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, that's something that is going to take time, unless you're like Madison Press-Parkers, so that earlier goal who said this is how you do it. Now, the ball is on the ground. Going in there is Jamila Hull. Couldn't quite get it out. Goes in for a second effort. Tackle laid on by Millie Shon. Flying kick out of the pack. In goes, straight through the middle. Ash Riddell just cleaned up a few. Got the football. That's some real good captaincy there. Just showing and leading the way. Trying to get it across to Cantwell, who went without the football, though. Going back in is Drennan. Has to try and get through traffic. Released released the football. Her teammate immediately caught, though. Umpires allowing play to go on. Want to get a hurry kick there, Elizabeth Keeney. Couldn't quite get it out of the pack. Drennan goes in again, and it's going to be Stacks on the middle. The umpire will call for a ball up. But just loving, Lucy, there, that endeavour of Ash Riddell just to try and take the game on and break something open. Unfortunately, couldn't link up.
No, couldn't link up, but had the foresight to just try and break through the players, and was fortunately very lucky to get through the two Saints players. That the ball up was taken by Bahana, but she was immediately wrapped up by Fitzpatrick. So we'll have another ball up with Fitzpatrick winning the tap down to Parkers, who got through two Saints players. She went for the long kick towards half forward. It was Olsen who came up with the football, but Anglis for Melbourne Uni wrapped her up in a tackle, and the umpire said, we'll have another ball up. So about 30 metres gained from the Parkers clearance, still inside the centre square, more at half forward as the umpire makes sure that we have enough players behind the halfway line, considering the anti-density rules. But the tap down was won by Drennan, who got the handball off to Owen. Her kick was smothered, and it went back to Johnson, who couldn't get the kick away, but Maitland, she gets the dribbler out, who goes to Belzer of Melbourne Uni. She was wrapped up by Carlson. The ball didn't go very far, and I think we'll have kicking in danger against Aisling Tupper of Melbourne Uni, which will go the way of Gemma Owen for the Southern Saints.
So the Saints looking to put an impact onto the scoreboard. They're currently 0, trailing by only the 2 goals, though, so they can peel that back. In fact, we've seen sides come from 10 goals down here at Frankston because when the gale is picked up. Now with the football is Munn. She was under pressure, had to get rid of it. Immediately caught there as Rhiannon Watt. Dropped the pill, in goes Fitzpatrick. Hurry kick out of there by Gemma Owen. Owen kicks it in towards the middle of the ground. Foot races on here. Classy skills by Jones. Jones, the 23rd player, now swings it around towards half forward. Had to be good with the kick and was found Rapari. Rapari at 60 metres out from home. Goes inside 50 with a kick. Oh, strong grab for the Muggers there in defence, and it was taken by the 19 in Lauren Arends. She goes to switch towards Chris Parker's here in the back pocket. Now up towards the half-back flank, flying through the air. More spoiling than trying to take a mark was the 32 in Imogene Milford. And the ball is over the boundary line and out of bounds. Matthew Cox.
Much better link-up play there for the Southern Saints, going inside, attacking 50 with a fair bit of purpose that time around. Unfortunately, didn't quite come off, but encouraging signs.
Fitzpatrick won the tap for Melbourne Uni, but unfortunately it was straight to Carlson for Saints. She was tackled by Greaser. You'd think she held on to it for a bit long, but her kick only went as far as Hay for Melbourne Uni, who was then got to Drennan, who's been pinged for holding the ball at centre half forward. So Hay will come away with the free kick for Melbourne Uni. She goes back, looks wide and finds Ibrahim. She'll take the grass in front of her and kicks short to Aisling Tupper, who takes a strong mark. Quick hands out to Aarons, who's running past. She'll go long inside 50, looking for Anglis. She gets the ball and hands it off to Bress Parkers in the exact same position she kicked the ball before. Great centering kick inside 50 towards Asher Price, who takes the contested chest mark, and she's on about a 45-degree angle, 30, no, closer, about 20 metres in front actually. So Asher Price has kicked, I think, probably 10 goals so far for Melbourne Uni this season. She's coming in, pops it on the right boot, and it's hit the post. So she'll be a bit disappointed there, but great link-up play there by Melbourne Uni. Bit slick.
Last 2 minutes, both sides have seemed to just open up a little bit more. They're wanting to move the footy, but again, it's that direct purpose nature of it, rather than just rushing on the boot trying to get it forward.
2-1, 13-0 score. Muggers leading the Saints as they elect to go towards the new social room side of the ground, out towards the defensive 50 line, bubbling around. Hands in there from Greaser. Umpires pulled out a free kick, and it is going the way of the Muggers. And in the hands of... look at it, I think it might be McDonald out there who's got the footy. Considering options, gives off the hand pass, one step and boot by Greaser. Puts it towards the top of the square, came off hands. Asher Price is there, she was lurking around. Numbers though with the Saints. Hull trying to get a hand pass off. One step long boot kick towards the centre half back position. In goes Clara Fitzpatrick, hit the ground. Ibrahim goes in again for the Muggers. Can't extract the football. Hurry kick out though was courtesy of this occasion of De Angelis. Moved it out towards the wing position. Rapari had it, gave it off quickly. Had to be very quick with the hands. Not much on for the Saints here on a 2-on-2. Muggers could come away with it. Not caught dropping the ball. Umpire said it was knocked out of her hands as the hand pass over the top from Keeney tries to set something up. They go towards the forward of centre wing position. Chasing after it is Greaser, and there goes the siren to indicate quarter time here at Skybus Stadium. The Saints, you feel, probably had about 65% of the football, but it was the Muggers that put it on the scoreboard. Melbourne Uni 2-1-13. St Kilda, or should I say the Southern Saints, no score.
See, I'd say it was about 50-50, Pete. I thought both sides, especially in that first 10 minutes, had probably equal possession of the footy. Melbourne University, with the agency of the breeze, probably got those two scoring shots as a result of it. But apart from that, the game's been played largely between the two 50-metre arcs, and it's been ping-pongy, a bit like last week with the Muggers against Hawthorn. They're just floating in between the two centre-half forward regions. Last 5 minutes of that quarter, it broke up a little bit more, and Melbourne Uni just looked that little bit more dangerous. They just that little bit more classy with their ball use. That passage just in front of us along the wing, the link-up play there was really encouraging, and it's what we saw towards the end of the game last week, where they looked like they were coming. So positive signs for Melbourne University. The Southern Saints, I think they just need to spread out a bit more instruction. When they've got the ball a couple of times on the wings, they've looked up and there's maybe only been one person in front of them. So I just think they need to just draw off the contest a little bit more.
Lucy Watkin, goal kickers at quarter time.
We've had Maddie Park has put in an absolute just goal of the year contender on the run, 49 metres out, curled it back in for that goal. And the first goal of the game went to Caitlin Greiser, another contender for goal of the year. Just a little bit of a volley on the outside of the boot that managed to find its way through the big stick. So they were the two goal kickers for Melbourne Uni, who lead 2-1-13 over the Saints 0-0-0 after this first quarter down at Skybus Stadium.
We'll be back in a moment on RSN Carnival Digital Radio and VFL.com.au.
You're listening to Carnival on digital radio, live streaming around the world and on the RSN smartphone app. See the listening guide at rsn.net.au.
Our friends at Callaway Golf are giving us spectacular prizes for the Breakfast Club's Friday Face-Off. Each week your chance to win an Odyssey XO 7 putter, the XO combining micro-hinge roll technology with the legendary white hot feel. Performance has never looked so good, all thanks to Odyssey. For your shot at the XO 7, get into the next draw to become a Friday Face-Off player. To do that, head to the competition page at the website rsn.net.au.
The Country Footy Show. Hi, it's Adam White, joining Paul Daffy every week with all the scores, all the news, and most importantly, all the great stories around country.
And have struggled in the Melbourne for a long time, but they defeated Geelong Amateurs for the first time ever. Trainer Rod Smith.
Is it true that you were really emotional after the game?
Yeah, 10 others at a time. When that siren went, you think, yep, they've finally done it.
The Country Footy Show goes up as a podcast every Thursday afternoon at rsn.net.au. It's on your radio at 5 a.m. every Friday morning on RSN 927 and replayed at 5 p.m. Fridays on RSN's digital radio channel Carnival in the Melbourne area.
Get back to work.
But I am working.
What, on your latest Instagram post?
I'm lodging a free dial before you dig inquiry online.
Visit 1100.com.au to use this free service or call 1100 during business hours.
Every week, more than 20 Australian families will hear the words that will change their lives forever. Your child has cancer. For the long and uncertain journey ahead, Red Kite is there with very real help, like hospital and community-based support, vital financial assistance and educational services. Can you help Red Kite support these families through their cancer journey? Visit redkite.org.au or call 1800 334 771.
Got a big game this weekend? Here's where to meet up. The Mail Exchange Hotel, just 5 minutes walk from Etihad. Ales, wine, superb food and tab terminals. The Mail Exchange Hotel where footy fans meet up. Corner of Burke and Spencer Street City, right opposite the steps at Southern Cross Station.
You can talk with Father Gerard Dowling.
Welcome to the Family Council program. It's great to be with you, wherever you are.
We all need a helping hand.
It's always great to come in here, spend these 2 hours with you as you listen.
And a friendly voice is just a phone call away.
Ian's on the line.
Hi, Jared.
The Family Counsellor program. We all need someone to talk to. Sunday nights from 10. On RSN 927.
Am I on the air?
Presented by Tobin Brothers Funerals, celebrating lives.
This is the VFL Women's Match of the Day.
Indeed, this is the VFL Women's Match of the Day on RSN Carnival Digital Radio, the RSN Racing and Sport app, and on VFL.com.au. Peter Holden with you alongside Lucy Watkin and Matthew Cox. Chaos out in the field, chaos in the commentary box. That's why we love our trips to Frankston. Yeah, it's been our first and only one for the year.
I'm just hoping that the car ride home doesn't have the same amount of chaos, because then we're all in trouble.
Don't break down, don't break down, don't break down. That's what we're crossing our fingers on. Scores here at the moment, the Muggers 2-1-13, leading the Southern Saints. No score. Goal kickers at the moment. Are you saying Greaser or Greiser?
Greiser.
Greiser, because I heard Grease the other week, because I thought Grease Lightning would be a good nickname for her. But Caitlin Greiser with 1 goal and Madison Press-Parkis with the other goal, and a goal of the year contender from 48 metres out and just slotted it home. Just having a look, Coxie, some of your better players for the first term.
Really liked the movement of Lauren Arnell. First time in a long time I've seen her in the midfield. Looks like she's got a new lease of life in there at the moment. She's obviously the experienced head in the Southern Saints lineup. She's been using the ball very, very well. And then the other two also in senior positions for Melbourne University, or one is Ashley Riddell, has been pivotal, playing more on the half-forward line today. And obviously Madison Press-Parkis, every time the ball's gone near her or in the ball in her hand, she makes an impact. So they're a couple of the standout players from the opening term.
To get us underway for the second quarter here on VFL.com.au and RSN Carnival, here's Lucy Watkin.
From the restart, Watt and Fitzpatrick will meet in the middle. It gets into the hands of Brown, but taken by her own teammate in Watts. Brown again extracts the ball, kicks it towards forwards, gets off the hands of Edwards, but the Saints are there. Maitland will get, Rapari will get the ball, handballs to her own advantage, but comes up into a wall of Melbourne Uni players. Edwards looks a bit sore after that one, but it'll be Fitzpatrick who picks off the kick from the Southern Saints on half-back. Her kick, dangerous towards Hay. She can't find her feet, gets a diving hand pass out towards the boundary, mopped up by Hardiman, who gets the kick to McDonald on the wing. She goes long and will find Keeney, but she can't take the mark. Brown from the Southern Saints picked it off. Her kick taken by McDonald, who goes down the wing again, looking for Airlie Runnels, but it's picked off by Olsen.
Olsen with the football right in front of our broadcast position. Goes long on the right. Pack of Muggers went over the head of Press-Parkis out the back door. Oh, bowled over a few. Who could be lucky enough to get onto this? Allsop, when chasing after the football, got crunched in the contest by Clara Fitzpatrick. And the umpire said there was no prior opportunity, so we'll call for a ball up. 52 metres out from the Saints goal. Slight breeze blowing to their end, the park end of the ground. They'll be looking to make use of that as they're down by 13 points. Fitzpatrick wins the contest, but stealing it there is Eleanor Brown, who put it on the left boot. Tried to find a target at about 25 metres out from goal with Rapari. Got knocked away from her. Press-Parkis gets the hand pass off. One step on the left. Muggers coming up the line looking for Ash Riddell. One bouncing away from her, though, over the boundary line and out of bounds. Interesting to see that matchup, Coxie. Ash Riddell going up against, for the Southern Saints, Tiara Anir, former Seaford player from Correct.
Yeah, who was originally listed as an emergency. Just been watching Dahlia Edward on the boundary line coming off after the knock in the hands of the trainers. Just going through a checklist at the moment, so I wonder if it's a concussion test.
From the throw-in, Watts won it down, and it was Brown who got the ball, but she was wrapped up by Press-Parkis, and we've got a throw-in just on the broadcast wing.
And Anir is wearing Riddle like a glove at the moment.
She is. She let her off the leash a bit early in that first quarter. That's what you get for being a good player. You get the hard tag. The tap down was taken by Abitan Jallo. She got it off to Webster for Melbourne Uni, but her hand pass only found Saints players. It's in dispute at a centre half forward for Saints. It gets out the back to Hardiman, who gets it to McDonald, who gets the left foot kick out to Press-Parkis on the wing. She goes back looking for options. Plenty running towards her, but she decides to take a run. Sends it long towards Runnels. She can't get it. The spoils put on by the Saints. She sort of rolls it back out to the player in Carlson for Saints, but it ends up in the hands of Riddell. Drennan picks it off for the Saints. She gets the handball off to Arnell. Quick handball out for Olsen, who keeps it in play but wrapped up by Riddell, and she will win a holding the ball free kick.
So she looks at the umpire saying, me, and the umpire says, yes, you have a free kick. So she looks further afield with Lauren Arnell on the mark, decides to switch inboard. Had to be good with the kick and was. Found Fitzpatrick. Fitzpatrick unleashes McDonald. McDonald inside 50 with a kick. Just went over the head there of Runnels. And a mark for the Saints. And they'll try and clear it through Olsen. Olsen, dangerous switch to the opposite back pocket. Put her teammate under all kinds of pressure as Kira Price went in there. But they managed to extract the football this time. Jones now kicks it out towards the half-back flank. But it'll now be half-forward flank for the Muggers thanks to an intercept taken by the 32 in Imogene Milford. Late inclusion for today. Gave up the hand pass. Sold the candy beautifully. Now goes long inside 50 with a kick. Waiting out the back door. Had it. Brought it in. Got caught Angelus. And the umpire will say holding the football because you tried to take him on and go for goal. Free kick to the Saints.
Not in the back?
Yeah. Interesting one. But free kick for the Southern Saints taken from the goal square. She goes long, but it ends up being a high up and under kick. Keeney for Melbourne Uni can't take the mark. Either could Johnson for the Saints. Ends up in the hands, but will have a free kick going the way of Melbourne Uni for a throw. And that will end up in the hands of Airlie Runnels for Melbourne Uni at centre half forward. She looks around, looking for an option, but the kick was smothered off the boot by Isabel Quintal for Southern Saints. Abertangelo for Melbourne couldn't get the kick, but it ends up in the hands of Tuppers for her kick smothered. In the hands of Brown, her kick smothered, but it's cleared by Southern Saints out of defence, and it's Rapari on the run. Aarons is in pursuit. She gets the kick off. It's going to bounce and bounce, but it's gone right for a behind. First score for the Southern Saints. They are 0-1-1 lead, being led by Melbourne Uni 2-1-13. Matthew Cox, special comments.
Very lucky to release the defensive pressure that were on them there, the Southern Saints, and lucky that the ball bounced kindly for Rapari at half forward to have that shot on goal. Otherwise, they would have been in all sorts of trouble.
Webster went long, only for it to come off hands, and Drennan had it, then managed to pop it out sideways to Ricardo, who wanted to go towards the top of the square, and dumped head first, and the umpire says that's too high. Free kick going the way of the Muggers, and putting her head back on her shoulders there is Martha Cantwell. So Cantwell with the resulting free kick for the Muggers in front of defensive goal. Her side up by 2 goals. Gives off the hand pass and got dumped afterwards. Long kick up the line, only for it to be intercepted by Georgia Ricardo. Ricardo now goes inside 50 with the kick. 45 metres out from goal. Came off hands. Trying to go in there and lay a tackle was Tupper. Ball hit the deck. They go in one more time. Hurried kick. Brass Parker's out of the pack. Now towards the wing. Millie Shawn chasing after the football. Going to be second in this contest. Picking it up is Leah Olsen. Got to spin around on a sixpence. Leah Olsen on the left boot. Went long, but only to be intercepted by Sophie Abertangelo on the half-back flank.
Abertangelo decides to go up the wing, but it's smothered off the boot. Green can't take the mark, can't get clean hands to it. Running through is Riddell, but she couldn't get it. Southern Saints off the boot of Arnell go forward. It's Rapari who gets the slap on, but McDonald for Melbourne Uni is also in pursuit. She gets the best of it and will go towards Hay for Melbourne Uni. She takes a bounce up the wing, takes a second bounce. She's still running. She takes a third bounce. She's still going. She gets it off the left, but it's a scrubber of a kick. Angelus picks it up with one hand, gets the hands off to Asher Price, who goes, sends the ball. Olsen for the Saints tries to pick it off, but she drops the mark and she's wrapped up by Runnels. And it's a pretty good result there for the Southern Saints to stop the quick flow of play from Melbourne Uni, but it'll be a ball up 40 metres out from goal directly in front.
High, there they go. Big leap. Tap down. Now taken away by Drennan. Drennan now kicks it in towards the true centre back position, but it's all Muggers here. Bryce now kicks it inside 50 with a kick. Got to be good. 1-2 bites the cherry. Couldn't be pulled in by Angelus as the ball hit the deck. Tried to go through with a hurried hand pass. There was Milford. Didn't find anyone. Saints with a hurried kick that has gone out of bounds on the full. And we'll see a resulting free kick to Elise Hay. Matthew Cox.
Just rewinding a couple of passages of play, the Elise Hay run down the broadcast wing, taking the game on, taking on responsibility. Want to see that a bit more from both sides.
Elise Hay brings the ball back into play on the right boot, kicks into a pack situation. Probably not the smartest thing to do as Eleanor Brown takes the resulting mark. Plays on the left boot, wanted to go with the switch over the head of Fitzpatrick, was well weighted in the end. Now an opportunity to go to a one-on-one inside 50. Leading in the foot race is Cantwell, but she's under pressure by Rapari. Rapari tried to turn her inside out. Cantwell went again. Rapari on the deck though. It's now 2-on-2. It's a wrestling maul, and the umpire says there is no prior opportunity and will call for a ball up. But great play there by Drennan with the original kick to set that up.
Yeah.
It seems to be the common theme at the moment. Kick it long inside 50 for the Southern Saints and allow Rapari to run onto it.
It's working so far despite only one score. It gets into the hands of Silver for the Southern Saints. The kick off the boot. Found another Southern Saints player, but her kick hit the point post on the full, so we'll have a kick in from defensive 50 for the Muggers. It'll be taken by Martha Cantwell, which it seems what she lacks in size, she makes up for in fight. She's been very ferocious running after that ball when it goes long inside 50. She's looking for a shorter option, but decides to go as long. Goes up, Fitzpatrick couldn't take the mark, but Drennan gets it, and oh, great chest mark there by the Southern Saints player in Lawrence. I think it might be up there in front. She's going to go back for a shot. She's on about a 40-degree angle, almost probably 10 metres in front.
That ball speared into her then. It was almost like she wasn't expecting it and just caught it.
She goes in, right boot, true as, just directly through the goals. And first goal for Southern Saints. So they are now 1-1-7 and the Melbourne Uni are 2-1-13. Matthew Hawks, special comments?
Halfway through the second term, both sides looking to take the game on, which is encouraging signs, but they just seem to have players not in the right areas when they're trying to go forward, which is causing the turnovers. And I'm a little bit concerned that they're relying on the Rapari run inside attacking 50 for the Southern Saints.
10 minutes gone in the second term, 1-goal lead to the Muggers. Umpire calls a holding infringement there, and Alison Drennan gets the resulting free kick. Drennan now on the right boot, spears it towards true centre half full, went over the head of a few players there, got out the back, having it first and getting spun around in a circle there was Tapper, coughed up the football, trying to squeeze in there was Allsop, couldn't squeeze it out. Hurried hand pass now to a player who chased it up there in Bohanna. She got spun around, lost control of the football, fighting in for it is Ricardo as well for the Saints. They're really creating some pressure on the Muggers at the moment. Lawrence is hailing a cab, and the umpire says no, there was no opportunity and will call for a ball up.
Reckon momentum has swung their way at the moment, the Southern Saints.
Big leap in the air. They tried to put it down the throat of Drennan, but it was intercepted in the end by Webster, who kicked it towards the half-back flank. Now picked up by Riddell, who was scragged into the ground. The umpire said she got rid of it, so it's all okay. Saints do have numbers, though, unless it's intercepted by Runnels, and Runnels now kicks it up the line, trying to find a player to pick it up. Greiser now with it, keeps the ball in front of herself. Got to get control. She lost control of it. Umpire said it was knocked down in the contest. Play on. Saints with a long kick, only for it to be intercepted by Kira Price on the half-back flank.
Price decides to go laterally to Webster, who takes it back, and she wants to go wide again to Aisling Tuppers. The ball goes past her towards the boundary line. She gets it off her knee up the boundary line, gains some territory. Milford ends up with the football, but she's wrapped up by Bahari, and the ball doesn't come off cleanly for either team, and we'll have a throw-in. Just in front of the Melbourne Uni interchange bench here on the broadcast wing. Kira Price now in the ruck for Melbourne Uni. Coming up against Watts for the Southern Saints. Just on the logo. It goes over the heads to Abertangelo. Grabbed the ball but was wrapped up by Arnell. Arnell gets her own ball and gets the quick kick off. Lawrence couldn't get clean hands to it for the Saints. But Keeney, she ends up with it. Off to Sean, to Ibrahim. Cute kick out to Runnels, who gets it to the run of Press Parkers. She goes towards half forward over the hands of three Saints players, and out the back was Angelis. She gets a long kick out in the direction of Asher Price. Clean pick up, will run in front of goal and just slot it through for Melbourne Uni. As easy as you like from Asher Price, who was waiting out the back for that ball. She's their third goal kicker today, and they now lead 3-1 119 to 117 on special comments, Matthew Cox.
Just that little bit of class rising to the top in that last passage of play for Melbourne University. Clean by hand on the centre wing, got it to Prasparkas, who put it long towards half forward, ball out the back. Angelis ran onto it, set it up beautifully there for Asher Price.
You're listening to VFL Women's on RSN Carnival Digital Radio, the RSN Racing and Sport app, and video stream today on vfl.com.au. As the umpire throws the ball high in the air and away we go again. Kira Price brought it to ground, wanting to try and run to it as Millie Shon. Couldn't do so. It was the Saints ball, in fact, out of the middle. Long, high kick, only to be intercepted and taken away on this occasion by Elizabeth Keeney. Keeney went to go towards the wing on the new social room side of the ground, intercepted by Drennan with a hand pass over the top. There was too much of a hot potato. Overrunning the football was McDonald. Saints again, quick kick inside 50. Wanted to go towards a one-on-one. Overrunning the football is Allsop. Has to try and go in and get it again. Had support by Bahana. Umpires pulled out a free kick. Saints footy. And they have it at 40 metres out from goal. And it is in the hands of Ashley Allsop. How will she go from here on a 45-degree angle? When she kicks, it'll be 45 metres out. Slight breeze at her back. Will blow from right to left as she comes in. Ashley Allsop for the Saints to bring the margin back to a goal. Gets onto it, goes right to the line, came off several sets of hands. Hannah Ibrahim wanted to go in there. Managed to knock it on, tried to find Cantwell. Spun around in the circle. Drennan wants to jump in there. Now an opportunity here for the Saints. I was hurried off the boots by Silver, but marked on the line in the end by Keeney, who will quickly clear the pressure, looking for Abertangelo. And unfortunately, due to the pressure from Prasparkas, the hurry kick there by Lee Olsen is over the, Quintal is over the boundary line out of bounds on the full.
So Prasparkas will bring the ball back into play for Melbourne Uni. She goes wide. Runnels almost gets the contested mark, but it was the 23rd person for Southern Saints with the spoil. So we'll have a boundary throw-in just where the 50-metre mark is on the Southern Saints forward line. Wait for the ball to come back into play. It's Munn and Kira Price. She gets the tap down. It goes the way of Shon. She can't pick it up cleanly. Maitland was there for Southern Saints to pop the pressure on, but Munn ends up in her hand. She gets the kick-off only as far as Hardiman for Melbourne Uni, but it's picked off by Anir from Southern Saints. Just on the half forward. She's looking for options and she finds one in Quintal. She looks back, drops her eyes, going for an option, but the player wasn't on the lead yet, but she's gone there anyway for the Southern Saints. Allsop, she gets the kick-off and it will just go past the point post out of bounds on the full. So Melbourne Uni, they're getting hemmed in inside 50.
They're stuck in at the moment, and one of those reasons is because Lauren Arnell is putting players in position across the half-forward line for the Southern Saints. She is directing traffic like a cop at the moment.
And here's the kick in from full back. Oh, just on the knees there, Sophie Abertangelo just managed to pull that one in.
Go to the replay.
Go for the KFC hotspot and all of that as the hurry kick, now trying to find the player in green, was knocked out of her hands. Good pressure being put on there by Owen. Hurry kick is going to see the mark taken by Hannah Ibrahim, who gives off the hand pass. Oh, kicked it right into the Saints player there. Drennan racks up another possession, gave the hand pass off. Little kick over the shoulder towards the hotspot, 30 metres out from goal. Ball hit the deck. Who's going to be first to get clean hands? It's Drennan, and she's nailed in the back, if you don't mind, by Belzer. The umpire won't pay the free kick though. It's play on. Coming away there is the 16 for Melbourne Uni. A hurry kick towards the half-back flank position. A dance in there is Leah Olsen. Tries to put it back inside 50 with an awkward kick. Now off the side of the boot is Amy Silver. 1-2 bounces. It went the other way. Maybe an opportunity to run onto the football, but overrunning it was the player in DeAngelis. So Melbourne Uni were going to come out, but only as far as Ashley Allsop.
Allsop decides to find an option inside 50, and the ball comes off hands, trying to find Owen for Southern Saints, but it's wrapped up. It comes out the back to Maitland, but she's wrapped up by Tupper. The ball still in dispute, and it will go over the boundary line for a throw-in in the right forward pocket in the Southern Saints attacking 50.
Just looking across the Southern Saints half forward line, 2 free players standing on either flank, waiting for that hurried kick from the Muggers to come out of defensive 50. They're setting up really, really well to put forward line pressure on the Muggers.
The throw-in was high and was tapped directly in front of Watts. Hit the ground, too much pressure in the attacking 50. No player could get clean hands, and everyone's just sort of hugging down there, and no one will get the ball out. But Green for Melbourne Uni passes the ball to the umpire, who says, break it up, time for a throw-in.
As the ball hits the deck, who's going to try and get a quick clearance out of it? It's a Muggers boot off the ball, only gained about 20 metres though. Ooh. And just being brought down, she tried to kick it, was Quintal. The umpire said she did technically get boot to ball, so it is play on. Hurry, little kick around the corner if you don't mind by Owen, close to the boundary line, was trying to find Ricardo and went over and out.
Just noticed a few minutes ago, Matty Prasparkas came to the bench with a bit of a hobble, so Melbourne Uni have a couple of injury concerns coming out of this second term.
You wonder if Paul Hood from Geelong is watching this going, hang on, that's my number 1 draft pick, make sure she's okay. As the ball is thrown back into play, going for the early leap is Courtney Munn. Did get a tap to it, Drennan goes in there, immediately wrapped up. They're trying to squeeze the ball out at the moment, the Saints, but all it is just a wall of Muggers that is holding it up. It just went ping-ponging around. Hurry kick out of the pack, was trying to find Runnels. She was caught behind in this occasion. Front spot there with Quintal. Managed to try and squeeze it out, trying to find Allsop. Muggers now with a kick towards the half-back flank, only to be intercepted by Eleanor Brown. And she goes with a short kick, works out okay to Ricardo. Georgia Ricardo is 45 metres out from home. 50 seconds to play until half-time. She's going to try and back herself in here. No tools on the line there from the Saints, looking for the big mark. As Georgia Ricardo unloads, just hands to it at the last second. Oh, it's still in play. It's just bubbling around. Can't quite control it there. Bohanna, who wanted to try and have a snapshot. Drennan waiting out for it to pop out to her. Now quickly got it across to the 19 in silver. She went for the snap around the corner. Questionable 15. Maybe the umpire said you're under pressure. That's why I gave you the mark. So the Muggers will clear. Were trying to find Riddell, but the ball took a couple of bounces and went over and out.
Over and out in the right forward pocket for the Southern Saints as we approach on half-time. I don't think there'll be much time for a scoring opportunity for the Southern Saints now. But the umpire goes to throw it in, and there is the siren for half-time. We had the Saints register their first goal of the game, with Danielle Lawrence hitting the scoreboard for the Southern Saints. Asher Price with a running goal directly in front. The only goal for Melbourne Uni that quarter as well. So Melbourne Uni maintain their lead. 1-1-7 to 3-1-19. The goal kickers again, Danielle Lawrence for the Southern Saints, Caitlin Greiser, Asher Price and Madison Prasparkas for Melbourne Uni. On special comments, Matthew Cox.
And just watching that player Prasparkas on the boundary line, just doing a couple of run-throughs. She's walking okay now, but a couple of injury concerns for Melbourne University, given that we also didn't see Dahlia Edward after the opening few minutes of that quarter, and she's just in consultation with the trainers as well. So interesting term of footy. It was 50-50 for the first 10 minutes, and then the Southern Saints were able to get it on top and lock it inside their attacking 50. I mentioned that they had players that were standing across their half-forward line. It was largely directed by Lauren Arnell, putting players in position until she went off the ground, but the Saints were able to pigeonhole them, and that forward pressure, there was pretty much 80% of the players in that attacking 50 area, and every time Melbourne Uni got their hands on the ball, the quick kick out was just swallowed by one of those Southern Saints players waiting on that half-forward flank. So they did well to trap it in. My only concern from the Southern Saints was that they only got 2 scoring shots as a result of it. If they had it in there for the last 5 minutes, I would have thought maybe 2 more goals would have been an adequate result, but to only come away 1-1-7 from the first half, I think they would be slightly disappointed with that outcome.
And to do so when you have the wind on your back as well in that second quarter. Melbourne Uni, you know, they do look very, very dangerous when they get the ball out of defensive 50. So if they're playing with the wind in the third quarter, we maybe could expect their lead to blow out another 3 goals.
Wouldn't mind seeing I hate congestion in the game of footy anyway, but wouldn't mind seeing players come off the contest for the Muggers, because when they look their most dangerous, it's when they've got players waiting out on either wing and able to run and use the footy. That's how they got that only goal to the non-win end, the Bayside end in that term, was because they ran it up the boundary line. But when all your players are inside defensive 50, it's a bit hard to do. So wouldn't mind, stop being a bee around the honeypot.
Yeah.
Open up. Don't think that you have to do absolutely everything. Put yourself in a good position like the Southern Saints were. Wait to receive the ball and then use it efficiently.
Yeah, counter that Southern Saints wall that's on that 50 line. You know, even if it's manning up one-on-one on a player that's on that 50, make it a bit more of a contest, because at the moment I think Melbourne Uni have had the better of it with Southern Saints when it comes to the game skill-wise. So I think Melbourne Uni could win those one-on-ones.
And Coxie and Lucy, just on draft watch for the moment, some of the better players that you think for either side, I'll throw some names out there and your thoughts on them. First of all, Madison Prespakis, of course, as everyone is rumoured to be the number one draft pick.
Absolute gun.
But I'll throw in some for the Saints as well when we're talking about the likes of Alison Drennan, the people have been talking up, and Eleanor Brown as well, and even the likes of Kayla Rapari.
Yeah, Rapari's been very dangerous going towards the attacking 50. The idea early in that second term and even in the first one was to put the ball in front of her and allow it to run on. Obviously it didn't happen as much in the back half of that second term because the ball was trapped down there, but she looked to create urgency and excitement in that any time the ball went in her vicinity. So she looks a very exciting player, but probably could use her just a tad better. I don't like the tactic of let's bomb it in and allow her to run onto it. It's obviously it favours her skill set, but it's a tad concerning that they're almost reactive rather than having her lead up, because she's got bursting pace.
As I say, she's a very, very quick player, and when you think of a forward like that who maybe you regard as your most dangerous forward, you want to see them sort of starting, not full forward like starting in the goal square, but you want them starting deep, so they're leading towards you, building the play up like Melbourne Uni do to find that leading player. But to pop it over her head and make her run onto it, I don't think is making the most of a very skillful player, as you said. So maybe maybe Southern Saints need another player in there to act as a target as well.
Leah Olsen's also been fairly good for the Southern Saints. Her disposal efficiency is probably the aspect that's letting her down, because she's clunking marks across centre wing and across the half-back line, but it's just her use by foot and her decision-making that's not great at the moment for the Southern Saints, but she's getting a lot of the ball.
And what do we also think about the likes today of, and I'm just looking at the names such as Kira Price has popped down the back line for a little while, and just trying to find other defenders for Melbourne Uni today.
Danielle Hardiman's been very quiet.
Yeah. I'm just trying to think who's trying to step up today to try and really fill the role of, as we said, Katie Klatt's been out and she's been noticeable very well for the games that she has played. She's a big out today. And also Kate Gillespie-Jones, who would play on the wing like we've seen the last couple of weeks, but drop back to defence. Has anyone from Melbourne Uni really been putting their hand up today to say, if not even taking their spot, but I can play alongside them and be a vital cog in that defence?
I'd suggest not at the moment, because
Webster was the other player I was looking for.
That last 5 minutes was the perfect opportunity for a Muggers defender to step up and take on that responsibility. If Kate Gillespie-Jones was down in that back pocket, she would have whacked it on the boot and got it to the centre wing 3 times. No one did that for the Muggers. It was the chaos that we've spoken about in the game so far. They were just trying to use it by hand, whereas I look at Hardiman, singling her out as one of the more experienced players on the list. She used to do that all the time for Cranbourne. She was their number one defender back then. She's got a good set of hands, good use of the footy, but she didn't really take on the responsibility that I think she needs to in the game today, considering she is the premium defender down there.
I think Danielle Hardiman's playing sort of like a last line of defence role. So I don't think she's playing as a defender who's going to sort of take it on and try and intercept and stop. I think she's almost playing for her teammates' mistakes to ensure that a mistake doesn't cost Muggers on the scoreboard. But I think Bess Keeney has been a really good really good down on the half-back. She's taken a few really strong marks for them at centre half-back and in the centre. And I think Mia McDonald on the wing, she's been a really valuable link-up on the wing as well.
You mentioned Hardeman. One thing that she used to do, and it's the one thing that Katie Cladd had been doing well, and this is a compliment to her, and it probably sticks out today because she's not in the side, is how well she would read the ball. And it's a few times today, a few of the younger girls have been tricked by the breeze, and they find themselves getting pushed under the ball by their Saints opponents, and that's allowing the ball on a few occasions to be in a very dangerous spot getting out the back, and a better side would really punish them for that.
I think the biggest thing missing in this game, and it's because we've mentioned there's so much young talent out there, is that leadership and experience. You look at Ash Riddell's standing tall, even though she's playing a slightly different role to what she normally would across half forward, so she's not in the thick of things all the time, but when she's got the ball in her hands, her decision making is a step above most other players on the field. And on the opposite side of the coin, mentioned it a number of times, but Lauren Arnell, she's standing off the contest often without anyone hanging off her, which I find slightly surprising considering she's the most experienced player in the Southern Saints side. You'd want someone either running alongside her or even learning off her. That's my thought. But she's setting up play. She's the cool, calm, and almost when the Southern Saints had it in their defensive 50, they're almost drawn towards going to her to help set things up.
And that today is a prime example of a theory that I've been putting out there. We know that Arnell will play for the Lions in the 2019 AFLW season. I would not be surprised if the Suns try to tap her on the shoulder for 2020 when they come in to say, we're going to get a whole bunch of young talent from Queensland, but we are missing experienced heads. We need you to do what she's doing today for the Southern Saints. We need you to be out there as essentially a playing coach, out there getting everyone in position, telling them what the structure is, just being that cool head out there, which I think would be very good for her, because we know as much as she's playing well today, she's in her 30s. Like anyone in their 30s, they've got to consider what they want to do post-playing. And I think for now, she's just showing that example in her later years. She can be that playing coach out in the ground and then transition into being a off-field assistant coach and then eventually senior coach.
She's that calming, soothing influence out on the ground where when the going was very chaotic, when everything was rushed, when things were panicked, it's partly why they were drawn to her, because they knew that she'd use the ball well and make a smart decision. So she's certainly got influence. And the other thing that's highlighted for me is that, yes, she's ageing, but she's still fairly good in the middle. In the last few seasons for Darebin, we saw her play predominantly forward pocket. Carlton, she was used in the forward line a majority.
Footy. It's more than just a game every week. It's driven by passion and dedication. From team managers to trainers, timekeepers and groundskeepers, Swiss wants to celebrate the legends who give it their all day after day in the Swiss Best Off-Ground competition. Nominate your local hero and they could win tickets to the 2018 Toyota AFL Grand Final, tickets to the 2018 Charles Brownlow Medal, and $5,000 towards their local club.
So enter your nomination now at swiss.com/bestoffground.
Because it's game day every day. Footy. It's more than just a game every week. It's driven by passion and dedication. From team managers to trainers, timekeepers and groundskeepers, Swiss wants to celebrate the legends who give it their all day after day in the Swiss Best Off-Ground competition. Nominate your local hero and they could win tickets to the 2018 Toyota AFL Grand Final, tickets to the 2018 Charles Brownlow Medal, and $5,000 towards their local club.
So enter your nomination now at swiss.com/bestoffground.
Because it's game day every day.
Everyone loves him. As attractive Jager is, well, Missy said he's nearly too perfect, that he's too attractive, but she likes the rugged look, obviously.
Eddie Harper, one of the main voices and most respected voice in the world of soccer in Australia, from Fox Sports.
Your thoughts on Usain Bolt?
Well, I'm happy to give it as much oxygen as is required to see if the bloke can play, but if he can't play, he can't be signed.
Great to have Brendan Goddard with us. Are you any clearer in your mind as to what you want to do?
The body's good. Mentally, I'm in a really good place. So I think once you lose that passion to play or the ability to come into the footy club every day and you're finding it too hard, I think that's when you really know that that's the time up. Apart from, you know, the footy club deciding that it's better off that you move on.
Big news in netball yesterday when the announcement came through that Shani Layton was retiring. How did such an aggressive person and player play a non-contact sport?
I don't actually know, but I think they can thank me for it now not being a non-contact sport.
Zach Tui is a very important part of Geelong Football Club. You've got the D's who are a game ahead of you on the table at the moment.
It isn't do or die, but there is that sort of air about it. It is a huge game and it could really shape who gets into final. There's no point denying that and pretending that it's just an average run-of-the-mill game. It feels a little bit like final game.
The Breakfast Club, 6 till 8:30 weekdays on RSN 927. Thanks to the Tab. We love a bet.
Talking Horses with Joe McKinnon.
We're working our way towards the breeding season, talking about new sires and the old favourites as breeders look for the edge. Plus, our watch on the big results from the Northern Summer. And we'll keep an eye on the equestrian world.
Talking Horses, Sunday from 7 a.m. on RSN 927. Presented by Darley's 2018 Stallion roster. Now including 4-time Group 1 winner Ribchester. Bring your dream to life at darley.com.au.
When a safety barrier is hit, it catches you like a net, slows you down and prevents you from hitting a tree or oncoming traffic. Safety barriers save lives, getting us towards zero.
Come and see the bigger, better Bayswater Jayco. Check the brilliant range of caravans and campers. New and pre-loved. There's finance. From the experts, including insurance work and an accessory shop with all the essentials, gadgets and extras. Bayswater Jayco really has got it all. All you have to think of is where to go. Bigger, better, Bayswater Jayco. Canterbury Road, Bayswater. The Country Footy Show.
Hi, it's Adam White, joining Paul Daffy every week with all the scores, all the news, and most importantly, all the great stories around country Victoria when it comes to bush footy.
Port Arlington have struggled in the Ballaroon for a long time, but they defeated Geelong Amateurs for the first time ever. Trainer Rod Smith.
Is it true that you were really emotional after the game?
Yes, 10 others were fine. When they saw him, you think, yep, they've finally done it.
The Country Footy Show goes up as a podcast every Thursday afternoon at rsn.net.au. It's on your radio at 5 a.m. every Friday morning on RSN 927 and replayed at 5 p.m. Fridays on RSN's digital radio channel Carnival in the Melbourne area.
Every week, more than 20 Australian families will hear the words that will change their lives forever. Your child has cancer. For the long and uncertain journey ahead, Red Kite is there with very real help, like hospital and community-based support, vital financial assistance and educational services. Can you help Red Kite support these families through their cancer journey? Visit redkite.org.au or call 1800 334 771.
You're okay. Just did it because he likes you.
Don't try like a girl, mate.
Violence against women starts with disrespect. The excuses we make allow it to grow. Violence against women. Let's stop it at the start.
Our friends at Callaway Golf are giving us spectacular prizes for the Breakfast Club's Friday Face-Off. Each week, your chance to win an Odyssey XO 7 putter, the XO combining micro and hinge roll with the legendary white hot feel. Performance has never looked so good, all thanks to Odyssey. For your shot at the XO7, get into the next draw to become a Friday Face-Off player. To do that, head to the competition page at the website rsn.net.au.
This is the VFL Women's Match of the Day.
And welcome back to the VFL Women's Match of the Day here on RSN Carnival Digital Radio Melbourne, the RSN Racing and Sport app, and via rsn.net.au and streaming online as well at vfl.com.au. Melbourne Uni 3-1-19 leading the Southern Saints 1-1-7. Peter Holden, Lucy Watkin and Matthew Cox with you in commentary as it starts to get a little bit cool, a little bit nippy here at Sky Bus Stadium. Lucy Watkin and joining us today on the call team. And Lucy, I guess the question is, what can the Saints do from here? You feel like they've been creating the pressure, they've been trying to create the opportunities, but they're not getting reward for effort.
Yeah, yeah, when I went into the Melbourne Uni rooms to corral Scott into an interview earlier in our pre-game, I heard him say that the Saints, they're sort of number one in the competition for pressure, but none of their tackles win free kicks. So they put in a lot of pressure without a lot of reward, which seems to also be the case today. And, you know, I think what we've been talking about with Lauren Arnell playing that sort of general down back, I think we'll see her talking to a lot of the young girls, which we see now. She was just over on the far wing talking to one of her teammates, you know, maybe giving advice. And what I noticed was when they came out of the rooms, Arnell was also the last player out with Peter Searle and joined the huddle very, very delayed to the rest of her teammates, you know, discussing probably tactics or whatever. And I think you're right, Peter. She's playing sort of that player-coach kind of role. And I think, you know, they'll keep piling on the pressure and try and limit Melbourne Uni hitting the scoreboard too much with the wind behind them.
Well, we're just about ready to get underway here on RSN Carnival Digital Radio and VFL.com.au. Lucy Watkin to start us off for the third term.
Watt tries the two-handed tap but only goes down the way of Abertangelo, but she was wrapped up. The handball to the Southern Saints player who got the clearance to Lawrence. She was spun by Tupper but got the handball out to Munn. She couldn't pick it up, but it's Drennan who ends up with it. She was pulled off the ball by Hardiman, so it didn't go very far, but it's once again ended up in the hands of Munn. Her slap to Drennan. She couldn't pick it up, but the ball's in dispute. Hardiman standing over it. She couldn't pick it up. They're still fighting for it. The umpire's letting it play on, and it went to Ibrahim, who got the handball out to Abertangelo. Didn't quite reach her. Plays all around the ball everywhere. Ibrahim, she's wrapped up by Arnell, and finally, we're getting a free kick. Arnell sort of letting Ibrahim know about it. Get the ball quickly back to Johnson to the Southern Saints.
Johnson with the football, looking further afield for options. Now gets on the right boot. It's an awkward kick going up the line. Press Parker's jumped early, knocked out of her hands. Ibrahim wants to try and get in there for the Muggers. Also one across the top is Lawrence for the Saints. Umpire's going to circle, blow the whistle and call for a ball up. And we'll have it right in the Saints forward 50. They are 35 metres out from goal. Munn does the ruck work, brought the ball to ground. Chris Parker's hurriedly on the right, was looking forward. McDonald went over her head. Silver at the back to try and create pressure. Riddell is there as well. Taken with a hurry kick around the corner by Arnell, only for it to be intercepted just the 15. And the mark taken by Hannah Ibrahim. False start, then gets going on the right. Dangerous kick. Had to stick, and it did like super glue. So now an opportunity for the Muggers to do something here as it's through Arends, who kicks it out towards the half-back flank. Dancing around there is Courtney Jones. Got caught, but got rid of the pill while under pressure. In goes Tupper for the Muggers as well, close towards the boundary line. Support from Hay, and it will go over and out in front of the change rooms. 2 minutes gone, third term. 2-goal lead to the Muggers. Matthew Cox.
Turn myself on there. Static start to the third quarter. Played on the half-forward line for the Southern Saints. Need to capitalise on their opportunity.
Watts, who just got her hands was just out of hands from the trainers, but the throw-in went over her head. Milford was in pursuit by Melbourne Uni, but she couldn't cleanly pick up the ball. It ended up in the hands of Rapari for Southern Saints, but she was wrapped up by Greaser, who's a long way from the forward line, and we'll have another ball up inside 50 for the Southern Saints. Watts got the tap down, but to Ibrahim of the Muggers. The kick, her clearance over the head of Riddell and Drennan, but it's Green who paddles it to her advantage, can't keep her feet, gets the handball to Riddell, who's wrapped up quickly by Carlson of the Southern Saints. And the umpire will say we'll have a ball up. So we're just in the centre of the ground now on the attacking side for Melbourne Uni. Fitzpatrick won the tap down. Milford and Press Parkers couldn't get clean hands. It ends up back in with Fitzpatrick. She gets the clearance towards Green, but it's slapped away. Southern Saints with the hands. The chain of handballs ends up in Arnell's hands, and she gets the long kick down the line. Edwards and the Muggers can't get the mark. McDonald gets the handball back out towards Cantwell. Bahari for the Saints. She can't pick it up. Edwards can't pick it up. But it's the Saints with numbers. Drennan gets the ball, runs around the contest. The kick off the side of the boot is out on the full. So the ball will go the way of Melbourne Uni after a very congested passage of play on the broadcast wing.
Good times for the Muggers, both Edward and Prespakis back out there to start this third term.
And gets on the right boot, going up the line. Prespakis went flying through the air, couldn't quite pull it in. Waiting there and trying to dance around Eleanor Brown. High and long in front of our broadcast position, trying to stand still was Bahana. Ball hit the deck, almost a little throw there, thank you to Cantwell. It got intercepted by Johnson. Johnson now going towards true centre half forward. Rapari tried to get in there, maybe held her opponent off the ball. Umpire said no thank you, play on. Going in there is Tupper again, couldn't quite squeeze it out close towards the boundary line, but Hannah wanted to keep it in, but under pressure from Hay sees it go over and out.
I reckon both sides today are missing a true centre half forward.
Yeah.
Someone to straighten them up, someone to take a good grab about 60 out from goal, because at the moment, any time it goes anywhere in that vicinity, they can't get their hands on it.
Prespakis does the roving work, gets on the right boot, goes towards the centre of the ground, went over the head of a few, waiting out the back was Green. Lost control of the football, but managed to kick it off the carpet, and it dribbled inside 50. Trying to chase after the football there and bumping and trying to shove away through was Angelus. Couldn't pick it up. Lawrence now quickly got it across to Carlson while under pressure, lost it. And now the Muggers with an opportunity through Angelus from 48 metres out, and she gets it. Katie Angelus has her first, and the Muggers extend the lead for 125. The Saints a 1-1-7 match. Analyst Matthew Cox.
That was just constant pushing by the Muggers. They lost it inside their attacking 50, were able to get it back. They didn't let it off any of the pressure that they had moving the ball forward then. That's how that goal resulted. Not the cleanest of way of getting it through the big sticks, but it's effective.
It is effective when you move it quickly down the ground, and I just want to call myself out for saying it Fitzparis before, but I think we're seeing in the stoppages Fitzpatrick to Prespakis, which we almost saw then, but the ball dribbled out to Balzer on the wing. Fitzpatrick got the hands off to Prespakis, who got the kick up the wing looking for Riddell, but it was over the head of Riddell and Brown of the Southern Saints, and we'll have a throw-in on the wing.
Remember a game at Preston City Oval last year, Diamond Creek, Darebin, where Chloe Malloy was the standout of any player on the ground with her decision making, cutting angles with the ball going inside attacking 50. Prespakis' game today is reminding me a lot of that.
The tap over the head of the ruckman went the way of Tuppers, but she couldn't pick it up. The Southern Saints player was quickly stopped, and Drennan tried to get the clearing kick, but only went as far as Bryce of Melbourne Uni at half forward. The kick found the way of Southern Saints, who got it out, but it's picked off by Webster for Melbourne Uni, who gets the hands backwards to Cantwell, who went defensively again to Hardiman, who got the kick out wide to Webster on the outside wing. She looks to go inboard, but Balzer drops the mark. She roves her own mistake, but Southern Saints have numbers, and the kick was got away by Allsop, but it's picked off by Keeney from Melbourne Uni.
And decides to switch the play. Juggling it there was Imogen Milford, lost control of it, tried to go through as Drennan, but tripped up her over her own feet. Going in there is Maitland, the Cheese, tried to get it out, couldn't do so. Ball still in a logjam in the middle of the ground. Webster fighting in hard for the football, gets a hurried little kick that gained a couple of metres, was trying to find the original player in Milford. Now out to Riddell looking for Prespakis, who got space, she can pick it up. She tries to sell the candy, almost the don't argue there. Then got it on the boot, went inside 50 with a kick, but it was read best on that occasion by Leah Olsen. Olsen goes for the switch, managing to spot up Jones. Courtney Jones on the right boot. The 23rd player has been impressive today for the Saints, and now they're off to the races on the right boot looking for Rapari. Teammate cut in front though, and Courtney Munn. That'll free up Rapari to run inside 50. Munn with the football. She's about 65 metres out from home, slows down. Now we'll wait for the option and kicks it long and high towards the pack situation. Just bounced off chest there. Rapari meeting the sandwich, try to get through. Drennan was there as well, couldn't squeeze it out. Muggers now with a clearing kick out towards the half-back flank. Nelly Falcon to Balzer. Now a hurry kick by the Saints back inside 50. They've got numbers here if they can work it wide in the pocket. Got to stand, got to spin around. A quick snap if you don't mind from Owen. It's through. And the Saints get a goal. Gemma Owen reduces the margin to 12 points. 2-1-13 the Saints. The Muggers 4-1-25. Match analyst Matthew Cox.
Oh, when the Saints go marching through the goals. Sorry about that. The only trouble with that passage of play for mine was the slight hesitation of kicking the goal there from Owen, where she flicked it around. She basically turned inboard rather than just whacking on the boot, being confident. And that's why I said before about Prasparkas breaking the lines and using her decision making. The confident kicking is the other thing that there's not many players out there today that have got it.
That's true, and I think also Courtney Munn failing to find the option inside 50. There was no strong lead from a Southern Saints player. The restart was all wrapped up again, so there was a secondary stoppage. Watt's tap was long over the top of the pack, and Drennan was going to rove it, but Greiser, she accidentally gave away a free kick, and the Southern Saints player on the way through let her know about it. She thought it was a bit off the ball, that one, but Owen, the goal kicker, went to play on, but she was wrapped up by Greiser. Arnell, she can't get clean hands to the ball, ends up back with Drennan. The clear and kick by Owen, back inside 50 for the Saints. Watts got a quick handball out to DeAngelis. She gets it off to Jones, who goes for a run, gets the kick, and it's not through. It just went away to the right. I just saw the umpire flick his head back, and I was like, oh, it's gone. No, but it was to the right. So exciting bit of play there from the Southern Saints.
Confidence, kicking with purpose, looks dangerous.
And now to Price. That's Kira Price with the ball. 2 prices in the side today. I guess you could say Melbourne Uni doubled the price as they go short.
Is it right, though?
Edward now takes it. Edward now off half-back flank on the right boot. Comes in board with a kick. Went over the head of a few players, including Greiser. Now a hurried little kick away, trying to find it to Milford, who was on hands and knees, taken by Arnell, who had to try and bust her way through, went backwards to go forwards. Now put on the left, Eleanor Brown. Went up towards true centre half forward, only to be intercepted by Arends. Coughed up the football, though. And now it's kicked over the top. Awkward bouncing ball for Lawrence, who ran into trouble and lost where the ball was. She spinning around, going, where the heck am I? Now receiving it there is Johnson, who wanted to try to get it to Lawrence. In goes Ibrahim, got bumped away by Lawrence. Lawrence wants to go again for a third effort, sitting on top of the ball. Players come in. Umpire says no opportunity and will call for a ball up. 15 metres out from the Saints goal. You feel they're coming here at the moment. They're kicking into the breeze. 11-minute mark of the third term, and they're down by 11 points. They tap the football forward towards the top of the goal square. It will be conceded through for a rush behind by Elizabeth Keeney. 2-3-15 the Saints. The Muggers 4-1-25 on RSN Carnival Digital Radio and VFL.com.au.
Hannah Ibrahim takes the kick in. She gets it short to Abatangelo, who's standing in the right half-forward pocket for the Saints. She took a bit too long. The umpire called to play on. Drennan almost had her, but she got the kick long to centre half-forward. Price couldn't take the mark for Melbourne Uni, but Sean got the ball. The handball only as far as Brown for the Southern Saints. She got it out to Anir, who got it out to Olsen, who's kicked it inside 50, but it was picked off by Edwards of the Muggers. She looks to go long and down the corridor looking for Sean, but it goes over the head and Angler. She tries to grab it, but she's pulled back from Olsen, and she will rightly so get the free kick in the centre of the ground. She goes wide, looking for Kira Price, and Prasparkas, she's come off the bench and she's shouting for it on the wing. She takes the mark with plenty of space, goes over the head of Runnels looking for Asher Price, who will run onto it. She's got company from the Saints player who just corrals it, and they've pushed it over for a rush behind. Prasparkas, footy smarts there.
Yep.
To just run off the interchange bench and call for the quick kick to go wide, but it's a behind for Melbourne Uni, who now lead Southern Saints 4-2-26 to 3-15, 13 minutes gone.
And again, a confident direct kick set up a very dangerous opportunity for the Muggers, who have got another one.
Yep, getting a whack across the scone while taking the mark is Tupper. Tupper close towards the boundary line. The puck at Runnels tries to keep it alive. Snap out of the pack! Don't tell me! Yes, indeed, Asher Price. What a sensational goal there from the Muggers, just from out of nowhere.
Impossible angle.
It slammed on the boot, and geez, that's like a knife through the heart for the Saints. And they did all that work, and then Melbourne Uni, ta-da! Out of nowhere, 5-2-32 the Muggers, the Saints 2-3-15.
Yeah, for 12 minutes of this quarter, Southern Saints have been pressing. Didn't capitalise. Melbourne University go up the other end and are able to kick a goal, which I didn't see because there's a column in the way.
And I know you mentioned the team's lacking sort of a centre half forward. I think Asher Price, she has the build to be playing that for the Muggers now. It was a long tap out, and Aisling Tupper for Melbourne Uni tried to get a hand on it, but it ended up with Lauren Arnell, whose quick kick was taken by Hardiman on the 50. Her kick was not great, and it was intercepted, but Munn, she couldn't get it, and Webster cleaned up for Melbourne Uni. Her kick almost made Ibrahim fall over, but it made to Brennan, who got her handball to Maitland. Her kick out to Rapari, who was bumped on the way through by Webster, and then she was wrapped up. So she's been called holding the ball, I think, because she tried to take them all on. So it'll go back to Hardiman on the 50.
And Hardiman stabs at it with the left boot, looking for Press Parkers. How does she get that much room? And now goes out towards the wing. Lauren Arnell is parked underneath it. Doesn't attempt to mark it, tries to tap it on. Sure was the best idea. Lawrence wrapped up. Drops the football cold to the blind side of the umpire. Belzer is there. Now to Sean, who put on the right boot. Got a bit of a shove after she kicked the football. On the deck, Eleanor Brown tries to go fighting in for it. Can't quite get it out. Arnell's there for support. And the umpire says, holding the football, you dragged it in. And it will be a free kick going the way of Melbourne Uni. And it ends up in the hands of Rhiannon Green. Green looking further afield. Forward of centre wing. Bit of a mongrel kick off the boot. Went through the hands there of Drennan. Riddell was out the back, but taken away now by the Saints. Wilson kicked it inboard. Managing to trap it there was Edward. Got caught from behind by Ricardo. Umpire throws the hands in the air and says play on. Kira Price is there. Getting caught, Eleanor Brown. She goes to the deck. Centre half back for the Saints, and the umpire has no choice but to call for a ball up. 32 plays 15. The Muggers leading the Saints.
That's an interesting thing about that holding the ball calls. I think Eleanor Brown dragged in because she actually just had her mouth guard hanging out of her mouth, so she didn't know what to do. But the ball up was tapped down by Watt. It made into the hands of Drennan, but she couldn't get rid of it. It ends up back in the air. Abatangelo was circling. Price, she tries to smother a kick, and it gets taken back into the forward 50 for the Muggers. Tuppers roves the handball out to Press Parkers. How does she have that space? Shot on goal, but to the right. So another behind. How does Press Parkers have that much space?
I'll tell you why, because she's one of the hardest working players out on the ground. She is constantly moving, constantly running, constantly looking for opportunity.
I'd love to see her GPS stats to how much ground that she's covered today, as it's taken away by Olsen. And the umpire's blown the whistle and said downfield free kick for being dealt with off the ball. So the Saints now will have it at half back in front of what used to be the old Pokies facilities here at Folkestone until they got rid of that. And now kicks on the right boot towards the centre wing through several sets of hands. Trying to keep it in front of herself to advantages. Allsop got mown down. Umpire said it was fair play on. And the ball will now eventually go over the boundary line and out of bounds. Rapari seeing it over.
Funny that you mention no more pokey facilities here, Pete, because it is Love the Game round in the across AFL Victoria competitions this weekend. Focus on the game, not the odds.
As we wait for the ball to be thrown back into play. Out the back door, Kira Price is there. Press Parkers again. Thanks very much. Went through, grubber of a kick that managed to get past Arnell, but a teammate was there to clean up the spill, and Hull kicked it in towards the centre of the ground. Foot race on, 3 Muggers against 2 Saints. Taking it there is Keeney, is brought to ground immediately, but as I said, had support. And Greiser now kicks the football high in the air, but only for it to be intercepted, and taking it is Wilson. Charlotte Wilson kicks in towards the middle of the ground. It was a worm burner, taken away by McDonald. McDonald takeaway. How do you like that? Now towards the 50-metre arc to Kira Price. Price looking for and getting Angelis. Is it chopping the arms? No, says the umpire. And a chance for the Saints to clear off the back line, and they're going to do so through Hull.
But the kick wasn't very good, and Riddell, she cut it off. Abatangelo was there, but Sean, she gets the handball to Riddell, who gets the handball to Press Parkers. She's in the pocket, she grabs it, she keeps it in play. She centres the kick, but it's only as far as the Southern Saints player in a near who gets the hand, but it's intercepted again by Sean and finds Press Parkers, but she's wrapped up by 2 Saints players in the forward pocket. So we'll have a ball in about 20 metres out from goal for the Muggers in the right forward pocket. Kira Price goes up, but the clearance is from the Saints. It only goes as far as Milford for the Muggers. She's got support from Hay, who'll get the ball, send it back inside 50, looking for Sean. Press-Parkis punches the ball, but the Saints get a clearing kick out of defence. Greiser is after it, and the bump from Carlson of Southern Saints has resulted in a free kick going the way of Melbourne Uni. Player on hands and knees, can't quite get up. Arnell standing on the mark. Riddell adjudicating, the trainer now intervening.
Clara Fitzpatrick, I think it is.
Oh, it is, yeah.
It's a bit
she looks very woozy.
dazed.
So Riddell, she takes the kick. Strong lead from Kira Price. She can't take the mark. Carlson, clearing kick to Courtney Munn, but she can't take it. Hay for Melbourne Uni just sees it over the boundary line. So we have a boundary throw in half forward, broadcast wing side of Skybus Stadium.
Yeah,
and Kira Fitzpatrick looks not in a good way.
I don't think she knows where she is.
It's like me after a few Guinnesses. It's pretty bad. I
thought that was one.
So we wait for the ball to come back into play. Out the back door. Interesting slap there by Watt. Put it into heavy traffic though. Ibrahim was there. Patangelo goes backwards. Managed to find Arenz. Arenz now the short kick. Umpire said play on no 15 while Tuppett was under pressure. Then had to try to put it to the advantage of Edward. Edwards going after the football, being chased though by Jones. Jones now picks up the football. Rapari in there as well. Jones trying hard to extract the football. Working overtime. Ibrahim tries to work in there, but it's taken away by Jones. Her kick only went as far as Arenz. Arenz now goes for the short little kick. Doesn't work out okay. Puts her teammate under all kinds of pressure. Ball cry the crowd out in the hill, and the umpire won't buy into it. As the seconds count down to three-quarter time here at Skybus Stadium in Frankston, Melbourne Uni 5-3-33 lead the Southern Saints 2-3-15. Just, Coxie, when it looked like the Saints were going to get something going at the start of this third term, in the second half of the term, the Muggers just switched the momentum around.
It's the class and experience coming to the top. There's a lot of players in the Melbourne University side that have just got that tad more experience at VFLW level, and that just shone above in the back half of that term. Southern Saints, a bit like a car that was failing to lay traction on they just were spinning the wheels, they were generating, they were moving it inside, attacking 50, but once they got it there, it was a bit muddled, a bit confusing, they were a bit hesitant and then turned the ball over. So missed opportunities that term for the Southern Saints. Melbourne Uni able to capitalise a little bit. I think they could have done it just a tad more. Update on Clara Fitzpatrick, headed straight into the rooms for Melbourne University. I think her day's done.
I hope she hasn't driven here to the ground, because in the state that she was in, she'll need the designated driver to get on home.
And she was using the trainer for support to lean on as she went into the room, so not good signs there for Clara Fitzpatrick.
And even with the support, wasn't walking in a straight line either.
Last time I saw someone that spaced out, it was Aliso Day. That time we called him
Footy. It's more than just a game every week. It's driven by passion and dedication. From team managers to trainers, timekeepers and groundskeepers, Swiss wants to celebrate the legends who give it their all day after day in the Swiss Best Off-Ground competition. Nominate your local hero and they could win tickets to the 2018 Toyota AFL Grand Final, tickets to the 2018 Charles Brownlow Medal, and $5,000 towards their local club.
So enter your nomination now at swiss.com/bestoffground.
Because it's game day every day. Footy. It's more than just a game every week. It's driven by passion and dedication. From team managers to trainers, timekeepers and groundskeepers, Swiss wants to celebrate the legends who give it their all, day after day, in the Swiss Best Off-Ground competition. Nominate your local hero and they could win tickets to the 2018 Toyota AFL Grand Final, tickets to the 2018 Charles Brownlow Medal, and $5,000 towards their local club.
So enter your nomination now at swiss.com/bestoffground.
Because it's game day every day.
Great stories around country Victoria when it comes to bush footy.
Port Alexon have struggled in the Ballaroon for a long time, but they defeated Geelong Amateurs for the first time ever. Trainer Rod Smith.
Is it true that you were really emotional after the game?
Yeah, 10 others at a time. When that siren went, you think, yep, they've finally done it.
The Country Footy Show goes up as a podcast every Thursday afternoon at rsn.net.au. It's on your radio at 5 a.m. every Friday morning on RSN 927 and replayed at 5 p.m. Fridays on RSN's digital radio channel Carnival in the Melbourne area.
Our children are so precious, and the next generation of farmers. Make a safe play area where the fence and gates are secure. With supervision, you'll reduce the chance of kids being injured, or worse. Visit farmsafe.org.au.
It's Anna Mears winning gold.
Hey, I'm Anna Mears. Winning gold at the Olympics was an incredible feeling, and having my biggest rival, who I'd just beaten, right up next to me and lift my hand in victory topped off an amazing moment. We'd had our fair share of clashes over the years, but in the end we both respected each other, and that's what really counts in sport. Be gracious in victory and in defeat. To keep your sport inclusive, safe and fair, go to playbytherules.net.au.
You can talk with Father Gerard Dowling.
Welcome to the Family Counsellor program. It's great to be with you, wherever you are.
We all need a helping hand.
It's always great to come in here, spend these 2 hours with you as you listen.
And a friendly voice is just a phone call away.
Ian's on the line.
Hi, Jared.
The Family Counsellor program. We all need someone to talk to. Sunday nights from 10. On RSN 927. Presented by Tobin Brothers Funerals, celebrating lives.
When a safety barrier is hit, it catches you like a net, slows you down and prevents you from hitting a tree or oncoming traffic. Safety barriers save lives, getting us towards zero.
This is the VFL Women's Match of the Day.
And welcome back to Skybus Stadium in Frankston for the VFL Women's Match of the Day on RSN Carnival Digital Radio and on VFL.com.au for the video stream today. Well, Melbourne Uni 5-3-33 lead the Southern Saints 2-3-15 at three-quarter time. Peter Holden, Lucy Watkin and Matthew Cox with you today as the sun starts to come down here on Frankston, and so does the temperature drop about 5 or 6 degrees.
And so do the hoodies come out in force.
You both look like Eskimos. I know we can't put you on camera, but my goodness gracious me. And now you've dropped your pen. That's how well you're going today. Goal kickers, 2 to Asher Price from Melbourne Uni. Greiser, Angelis and Press Parkers have all kicked 1. Singles each to Lawrence and Owen as we're underway. The ball is high in the air. 1 out by 1 on that occasion. With a tap it backwards. Press Parker sells the candy beautifully. Gets on the right, delivers inside 50. Went out the back door, tried to shuffle her way through Asher Price, but she is caught holding the ball. And the umpire says it's a free kick going the way of the Southern Saints. Jesus, she blitzed that one and put it through. All hail Madison Press-Parkis. I haven't been that impressed with a under-18 coming through since Chloe Malloy last year, as the kick now takes to Jones. Jones now on the right, going in the Drennan direction. Takes the mark. Looking further afield, looking for options. Gets on the right, Brew Drennan now towards the centre half forward position. Late ball from behind. Takes out a player on the way through in Press Parkis. Umpires pulled out another pushing in the back infringement against... No, this will be to Press Parker. So they did spot it, but they spotted it late. It was courtesy of Johnson who went for the spoil. And Press Parkis now goes out towards the centre wing, far side of the ground. Hits up the intended target. There are Milford who gave off the hand pass to the captain and Riddell. Riddell trying to find Angelis. Had it one-handed, fighting and scrapping in with it with Hull, who brought it to ground. Umpire blew the whistle and says it's a draw. We'll call for a ball up.
So ball just half forward for the Muggers on the outside wing. Watt, uncontested in the ruck, just slaps it forward and it will go over the line for a boundary throw-in on the outside wing in front of the Southern Saints interchange bench. Melbourne Uni leading 5-3-33 to the Saints 2-3-15. Watts got the tap out of the back, only as far as Milford, but Brown for the Saints picks it up. The Southern Saints player wrapped in a ferocious tackle by Avatangelo. The ball won't be coming out, so the umpire says, let's have a ball up on the Skybus logo on the outside wing. Throws it up quickly, and it's Watts who just slaps the ball forward again through the hands of Keeney. It gets into the hands of Rapari, who quickly gets the kick off. It's picked up by Aarons, but she runs over it. Hardiman, she gets the hand pass off towards Hay. She's wrapped up and she can't get rid of the ball. And the ball, once again, is all holed up just inside the forward 50, directly in front of the Southern Saints.
Umpire throws the pill up in the air, and away we go again. One beaten out on that occasion. Hand passes that we're trying to find Tupper to charge her way through. Now going in there is Lauren Arnell, besieged upon at centre half forward. Umpire says going nowhere, will call for a ball up. Quick little note, next week 2 games. We'll be on air 11 a.m. next week to bring you on Saturday, Carlton and Richmond at Icon Park, and then on air at 10 a.m. on Sunday to bring you at Werribee, the game between Melbourne Uni and Collingwood. As the ball is now towards the half-back flank for the Muggers. Trying to keep the ball in front of herself was Elise Hay. Just couldn't quite control it, but I don't think she was worried to find the safety of the boundary line in the end. We'll have a throw in. Matthew Cox.
Elise Hay been very good for Melbourne University today. He's provided a bit of drive off half-back and had that run along the wing in the first half. Been impressed by her performance today.
Watts gets the tap behind her, but only as far as Belzer. She's stripped of it, and the ball goes to ground. Parkers pulls it out, but the umpire stops her and says, we'll have a ball up here.
She looks like she's played footy for 30 years.
I know. She's so good. That's really all you can say, isn't it? Watts, again, uncontested in the ruck, slaps it forward towards Rapari, but Cantwell putting on a lot of pressure. Going in there was Silver for Southern Saints. She can't get it away effectively, so it gets back to Drennan, who gets the hands off to Carlson. She goes along towards the pocket. The ball did a big sort of leg break and hit the post, so it'll be a kick in. Not the throw in, isn't it?
Yes, the throw in.
Throw in, yeah.
See, when Melbourne Uni player wanted to take the ball and have the kicks, like, hey, and the umpire's gone, hang on, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Classic Emma Carney tactics.
Hello to Emma if she's watching, by the way, as the ball is thrown back into play. Running from behind, Price on the tap. Riddell. Abatangelo spun around in a circle, had to go backwards. Will they concede the point here? No, they elect to go across the face of goal through Tupper. Tupper's kick, not much to go to. Rapari, it bounced away from her. Double fisted slap there by Milford. Oh, got spun around in a circle, got the hand pass away while under pressure. Opportunity here for the Saints off the side of the boot. Press Parker's on the last line of defence. Sees it through for a minor score. 2-4-16 the Saints, the Muggers 5-3-33.
Press Parkers kicks it to herself and decides to go long in the direction of Belzer, but it's Eleanor Brown who creates a contest on the 50. Aarons, she ends up with it but can't get the kick away. Southern Saints get to Silva, who get a kick, and it finds the forward in Allsop for the Southern Saints. She's about 40 metres out from goal, directly in front. She's going back. I reckon she backs herself from here. Oh, she looks at Silva, who's running past, but decides not to give the hands off. She walks in, having a shot on goal, sends it on its way. It's a good kick, and it'll go straight over the heads of all the players standing in the goal square for the Saints' 4th goal of the day. And so it's Melbourne Uni leading the Southern Saints 5-3-33, but with that effort the Saints move to 3-4-22. Matthew Cox on special comments.
Incredibly important kick at the with 15 minutes left to go in the game. If there any chance, and we know that they've stolen games down here earlier in the season with the wind at their back, so that's a positive boost for the Southern Saints.
Umpire has the ball in the middle of the ground. It's thrown high in the air and away we go again. Punch forward, taken away though by Press Parkers, roving that Watt tap well. Went towards the true centre half forward position. Coming out towards is Asher Price. Try to go to advance, but taken away by Lauren Arnell. Arnell kicked it towards a traffic jam of players. Bouncing off though well was Johnson. Johnson now wants to go towards centre half forward. Good mark taken there by Rapari. Rapari with the football. forward of centre. Now goes inside 50 with a kick. It's got to be good. The ball went out the back door, trying to get to it first is Elise Hay. Hay goes for a run on the right boot. Nearly got squashed. Players are out there, though, for the Saints. And taking the mark is Bahana. And then she got dealt with. Now, will there be a 50? It will be. Oh, by Jingos. She goes to the goal line, and Coxie, she puts this one through. It's game on with more than 10 minutes to play.
It will be, and Melbourne Uni have another casualty coming from the ground. Elizabeth Keeney walking towards the bench, very, very groggy, and notice that Clara Fitzpatrick came back to the bench in the trackie.
Bang! That is a goal for Bahana for the Saints, and that means it's a 5-point ball game with less than 13 minutes to play. That moves the scoreboard here on RSN Carnival Digital Radio and VFL.com.au to the Saints 4-4-28, trailing Melbourne Uni 5-3-33.
Question for both of you. Where has this footy been for the last 3 quarters for the Southern Saints? It's been there in patches, but it hasn't had any continuity, whereas the last 3 minutes, they've looked aggressive, they've looked attacking, they've looked direct, they want to go. Where has that been all game?
It's a very good question, Coxie, and the tap down was won by Kira Price out the back to Press Parkes. She couldn't get it. Webster was taken off the ball. The free kick is they're told to play on McDonald, gets it on the broadcast wing, sends it towards Greiser. It goes over her head. Angelis, she can't get it. Anir gets the hands to Brown, who pops it on the left boot and sends it through the centre corridor. Aarons gets the punch off Press Parkes. She gets it, and Aarons roves that ball. It finds in the hands of McDonald. She has 3 Saints around her, but gets the hands off to Webster, who dodges 2, gets the kick towards Anglis, who didn't go for the mark, instead for the punch. Green is chasing after it for the Muggers, but she wraps up the Saints player who ends up with it, which was Anir, who's at the bottom of the pack, and the umpire says, we'll throw it up. There'll be a ball up on the attacking side for Muggers at centre half forward.
Melbourne Uni down 2 rotations. How will this affect them in the dying stages of this final quarter? Mark taken by Drennan. Play on is the call. She gave the hand pass off to Johnson, who took a bounce and took on the player, got on the right boot. In fact, partly it was Jones, the 23rd player, who wanted to go towards centre half forward. Kicked away from the Muggers, though, into space, trying to chase onto it is Kira Price. It's 2-on-1, got support there, doing well. There was Owen to try and hold it up for the Saints. Owen wanted to go for the hand pass back, trying to get through traffic as Carlson lost control of the football. Owen goes again and sees it over and out. Match analyst today is Matthew Cox.
Go back about a minute ago when I think it was Eleanor Brown had it at centre half back. All day she's been looking to give off the handball. In the last passage of play, she kicked it and got it forward of the centre circle. Good attacking football from the Southern Saints at the moment. They sense an opportunity.
Price did well to receive the football, then got it across to McDonald. McDonald on the left went up the line, being harassed as Greaser. Greaser just kicked it off the carpet and went to try and create some space, and it did well. Picking it up there as Asher Price gave off the hand pass to Milford. Milford goes for home! And the Muggers extend the lead out to 11 points. 6-3-39 the Southern Saints. 4-4-28 as we hit the 10-minute mark of this final term. Matthew Cox.
Good work from the Muggers. Good response. They've been under pressure for the first 10 minutes of this final term. Nice to get a response back on the scoreboard with the goal from Imogen Milford, the player who was the late inclusion for Katie Klatt earlier today.
Great setup there as well. Great and slick one-handed pickup by Asher Price as well.
But just generally good ball movement.
Yeah.
They've been confident enough to take the game on in this final term, both sides.
Ball up in the middle was taken by Watt into the hands of Drennan, but she was wrapped up by Press Parkes, who ends up on the ground. So we'll have another stoppage just at the centre of the ground. The umpire comes in and he's looking, making sure that everyone's in place. He gets it off quickly, Watt with the quick punch forward, but Press Parkes will again pick it up, but she's thrown to the ground by Lawrence, who then gets the kick forward towards half forward for the Saints. Tapped away by Hardiman, who puts on the Shepherd for Hay, who gets the hands to Cantwell, but she had company. Rapari wrapped her up. The ball finds its way to Hay, who gets a good kick out to the wing to the goal kicker and Milford. She's looking. She decides to go long up the line towards Greiser. The ball through her hands, picked up by a near of the Saints. She kicks it back the way it came, and it's Aarons who takes the mark. She almost played on, but decided to go back to take the free kick.
Aarons with the football, looking further ahead. Time is on her side with 8.5 minutes remaining in the match. Goes up the line, trying to find a knocked away by Greaser. Close towards the boundary line, trying to keep the ball in there as Carlson. Managed to gain about 10 metres. Want to put it to the advantage of DeAngelis, who overran the football. Back there is Aarons, who gave it off. Hurry kick into the middle of the ground there by Edward. Found Kira Price. Price just went for space. Went towards the centre wing on the outer side. Taken away by Lauren Arnell, who received. Went for the hand pass to put it to the advantage of Lawrence. Lawrence struggling to pick up the pill, though. Lawrence goes to ground. Can't afford to do that. Ibrahim was there. Bumped her off the football. Now the Muggers on the left boot going towards the centre half forward position. Well trapped, well taken. It's holding the football is Green. Green on the right boot. Going inside 50 with the kick. Great grab. Too strong, too good, Asher Price.
I'm glad she didn't blaze away then and just kick it inside, attacking 50. She took the time to spot up the target. Great lead by Asher Price. Great reward.
So she's going to have a crack from 45 metres out. If she kicks this, that's the nail in the coffin.
Ooh.
In she creeps. 45 metres out, Asher Price unloads, will fall short towards the top of the square. Numbers are there. Press Parkes is hanging off the pack and they can get it to her, but Tangelo head over the football and it dribbles away and over the boundary line and out of bounds. RSN Carnival Digital Radio, VFL.com.au. 7 minutes left in the game and the Muggers lead by 11 points.
Thrown in the forward pocket for Melbourne Uni. Greiser finding herself in the ruck with Watts. The ball comes in. Goes over the head of both ruckmen, but Green's there for the Muggers, but she's wrapped up by two. A near from the Southern Saints, one of them, who just ploughs her into the ground. So there'll be another ball up just inside 50 for the Muggers. Greiser again in the ruck against Watt, but it's Watt with a two-hand tap down to a near who gets the clearance only as far as Edwards for the Muggers. She decides to wheel and go. She goes to the top of the 50 looking for Prasparkas, but she stays down. Drennan could only tap it down to the ground, and Ibrahim, she's held up. The ball to Drennan, to Brown, who clears it for the Saints. Amar taken on the outside wing by DeAngelis. Quick kick out to Rapari, who's got space. Hardiman smothers the kick and it goes straight up in the air. Kira Price taps it down to Cantwell, who's wrapped up immediately. And the umpire's found a free kick.
Wow, just in the nick of time for them as well, because Rapari is going to be away.
Yeah, and she had Ricardo waiting over the top at half forward then. That was a good save by Melbourne University.
6 minutes remaining in the game. Melbourne Uni by 11 points as it's kicked by Cantwell out wide, looking for Prasparkas, who was under pressure, and the ball is over the boundary line and out of bounds. Throw in. Matthew Cox arguing for the push. The umpire saying, what push? As we'll wait for it to be thrown in. Right in front of the canteen area, which is closed for the day. Back in, Watt over the back of the head. Taken away, though, by Balzer, who kicked around the corner towards the half-forward flank, now half-back flank, as the Saints will come off of it on the right boot towards half-forward flank. Awkward bouncing football. Who can get their hands to it first? Waiting there was Edward if they wanted to go towards her, but it's a Saints footy. And now just slamming on the boot around the corner. DeAngelis, they're on here if they can take it and be calm. Now with the football, and no, on the left boot too. Lackadaisical Bohanna. What have you done? In the old days, they'd say, dragged to the bench. She just came into it just a little too lackadaisical.
She
didn't. Remember we've been talking about earlier in the day, kicking with purpose? Did not do that.
And had plenty of space in front of her. Could have ran closer to the goal. The kick in taken by Runnels, only as far as the pack. Couldn't find any clean hands, almost to Allsop, but the handball came to Balzer, who slammed it on the boot, and it's gone out of bounds on the full. So Saints will take the free kick.
5 Saints players, all unaccounted for.
So Silva just pops it up into the hot spot, but it came off hands to Cantwell. Mark wasn't paid. Hardiman tapped it off, but no one could get clean out. They kept running over it, but Parker's found her hand. She slammed it on the boot towards the boundary line. It's picked up by Jones, the 23rd player who gets the hands to Arnell. She sends it in, but the mark is taken by Prespakis. Oh no, she's given away a push to the player in Bohana for the Saints, who just missed the goal from about 20 metres out, and we've got a Saints player down.
Yeah, a bit of cramp by the looks of things.
Being pulled up by the trainer and now sort of walking it off as Bohana goes in. 40 metres out, slight angle. She pops it on the left, but again, it's curling, but it only finds to the goal line. It's offhand, and it's the kick away almost, was just blocked on the line. Melbourne Uni clear it long, but it's cut off by Jones.
There's that unaccounted player for the Saints.
Jones with the football. They're down by 10 points. 3 minutes remaining. Got a POQ, but she's not. She's taking too much time. In these scenarios, you just got to get it going quickly because there is no time on, and every second is precious.
Every player forward of the centre circle.
Jones, 50 metres out, shank kick towards the top of the goal square. It's off hands, a snap by Bahana again, and she's away to the left. 4-6-30 the Saints, Melbourne Uni 6-3-39. Here on RSN Carnival Digital Radio and VFL.com.au. Now, there's a stoppage, and Melbourne Uni do not have players back.
Doesn't really matter when Arnell takes the mark.
Yeah, and she intercepts, and now she tries to square it up. Oh, it's just knocked away from Price at the end of the day. Hurried little kick there under pressure from DeAngelis. Tries to get towards the top of the goal square, but Hannah was chasing after. Rapari came at 1,000,000 miles an hour, knocked away from her, and the ball will go over the boundary line and out of bounds. And it's for both sides. In a few other occasions, I've seen a lack of Saints players also getting back up. So the umpire's not 100% on this zoning rule.
Look at all the unaccounted Saints players around the top of the 50-metre arc.
Jones is just standing at the back all by herself. The tap made its way to Johnson. She tried to get around the player but couldn't. It's roved by the Saints player, but she's wrapped up immediately. Gets the hands out. Rapari, she can't get clean hands. She was wrapped up by Runnels. It gets to the hands of Bahana. She gets a quick kick away towards the pocket, and then they snap for goal and kicks it. Bahana, she rights her 3 wrongs and finally puts the ball through the big sticks and gets the goal for the Southern Saints. Only about 3 minutes left in the quarter. Can they do it?
I reckon they can.
Minute and a half.
All the momentum is in their favour at the moment, and Melbourne University are not accountable. They are not accountable. There were 3 players everywhere inside attacking 50 then for the Southern Saints.
So we have got 1 minute and 10 seconds to go. Can the Saints pinch it in 70 seconds? Ball is on the deck. Hand pass to Prespakis, who put it straight on the boot. Oh, it was going to be intercepted by the Saints player who dropped it, then just went to kick it off the carpet. On the wing position now. Now kicked away by McDonald. McDonald went straight up the line. Now with an opportunity there who's shown. Who tried to get a hand pass away to Ibrahim, who got squeezed. She was squashed like a toasted ham and cheese sandwich. The ball is now in dispute. Arnell wanted to go in there. Holding decision. It's Melbourne Uni's way. 40 seconds to play.
You can hear the Melbourne Uni bench just yelling, hold, 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 as Belzer. She steps back. She's told to hurry up, so she sends it long in the Prespakis direction. Bryza, she paddles it to her own advantage. She's got Carlson for company, who's holding her up. Munn is there as well, but the clear and kick is out of defence by the Saints, and the mark, strong mark by Allsop of the Saints.
19 seconds.
But she's hurt herself when she's hit the ground, so you think this might take the time away from the Saints to just pinch a win. She's on the ground in a lot of pain. But the umpire's called for time-ons, but I don't think we'll get it with only 3 seconds to go, and the siren sounds, and the win is Melbourne Uni's.
And I think the Saints players are disputing, saying that the ball went over the boundary line. The umpire blew time on. It's rare for time on to happen in women's football, but if there's a serious injury, whatever you want to describe that as, you can stop the clock. But the timekeepers didn't, and it went on. But in that fact, when the umpire did blow that whistle, there was 5 seconds left. Yeah. So you weren't going to get it from one end to the other, barring 2 50-metre penalties.
Yeah, Well, you can appeal for it and hope that it falls your way. It wasn't really going to help their cause there, the Southern Saints. Unfortunately for them, too little, too late. They played an outstanding final quarter of football. In terms of impact, they had more of it in that final term. I can't do the mathematical calculations off my head, but I think they won that quarter the Southern Saints. So they did all the hard work. They got themselves in a good position. But again, as I asked halfway through that final quarter, where was that in the first half? Because if they had done that from the word go, they would have been in the game from the word go.
There were a couple of issues for me that I'll look at just in the dying stages of the game, probably the last 10 minutes, where we talked about at the top of the program. We said about kicking with certainty, backing yourself in. The Bohanna missed shot, which you'll look back on being filthy, you could probably say too, but really the easy one that was running 15 metres out. And even just then, in the last 30 seconds, when the ball went to half back, a player running at the ball was Amy Silver. And Amy Silver hesitated at the last second and thought, I'll let it bounce instead. Where at that stage, even if it was going to hit her in the shins, she just had to go forward at the ball because the game's on the line, got to go at it. And because she didn't attack the ball, I mean, it's still going to be mission impossible.
Responsible Gambling Foundation's Love the Game round, and we're all taking part.
For the players,
coaches, and the fans.
There's heaps of reasons to love the game.
So this weekend, we're celebrating footy in its purest form by taking the focus off the odds.
3/4 of our kids think that gambling is a normal part of our sport.
And they're not aware of the risks. That doesn't sit well with us. It isn't why we choose to be a part of this great game.
So while you're enjoying this weekend's footy,
make sure to have the talk with the kids in your life and help them understand that gambling and sport
don't have to go together.
Get excited for another big round of footy this weekend.
Cheer on your team and remember,
love the game, not the odds.
This weekend is the Victorian Responsible Gambling Foundation's Love the Game round, and we're all taking part.
For the players,
coaches, and the fans.
There's heaps of reasons to love the game.
So this weekend, we're celebrating footy in its purest form by taking the focus off the odds.
3/4 of our kids think that gambling is a normal part of our sport.
And they're not aware of the risks. That doesn't sit well with us. It isn't why we choose to be a part of this great game.
So while you're enjoying this weekend's footy,
make sure to have the talk with the kids in your life and help them understand that gambling and sport
don't have to go together.
Get excited for another big round of footy this weekend.
Cheer on your team and remember,
love the game, not the odds.
Footy. It's more than just a game every week. It's driven by passion and dedication. From team managers to trainers, timekeepers and groundskeepers, Swiss wants to celebrate the legends who give it their all day after day in the Swiss Best Off Ground competition. Nominate your local hero and they could win tickets to the 2018 Toyota AFL Grand Final, tickets to the 2018 Charles Brownlow Medal and $5,000 towards their local club.
So enter your nomination now at swiss.com/bestoffground.
Because it's game day every day.
Footy. It's more than just a game every week. It's driven by passion and dedication. From team managers to trainers, timekeepers and groundskeepers, Swiss wants to celebrate the legends who give it their all day after day in the Swiss Best Off Ground competition. Nominate your local hero and they could win tickets to the 2018 Toyota AFL Grand Final, tickets to the 2018 Charles Brownlow Medal and $5,000 towards their local club.
So enter your nomination now at swiss.com/bestoffground.
Because it's game day every day.
For W players as well, so a lot of positives there for Melbourne Uni, despite the sort of fourth quarter fade away. Plenty of positives.
And also positives to the Southern Saints because